.com for more great podcasts.
Hey listener, this is Venice, and you're listening to Voice from the Underground, hosted by
Big Hat, you know what I'm saying, and Josh.
If this is your first time listening, here's a little insight.
They be fighting the power, talking about social issues, politics, you know what I'm saying? And not only that, but they be keeping us fun with the sports, music, comics, and movies too.
If you like what you hear, leave us a rating and share our show with your friends.
You know what I'm saying? Me on Twitter at VFU Podcast. So you can find them. So check one, too. This is Flavor Flav for the Underground Podcast. Yeah, boy.
Welcome to the Underground.
Welcome in, everybody, to Voice from the Underground, the podcast where politics and pop culture collide.
I knew he was going to say it like that.
Well, you know, you're like Deb Shepard.
Collide.
You're Deb Shepard Jr. What's happening, everybody out there in TV land, I guess? Not really TV land, but it's streamy land. It is I, Jason Dutch, back with the Darkest Knight himself from the caves of Gotham, Crest Hill, Illinois. Big Hussein smoking.
Put out my government address. Stay
Smoking
hey, dude.
Oh, you've done it to yourself what 30 times? So go fuck yourself.
Hey, dude.
But you didn't have to
Take
do
it
it
more
with
seriously when you do it, man.
You know,
Crest Hill.
it's like that line from Jurassic Park where the guy goes, "Don't." He's giving him the shaving cream. "Don't say my name." And the guy's like, "We've got Morgan here. Morgan here." No one cares.
He's like, see, no one cares. That was a beautiful.
Dotson.
Yeah, Dotson. That's that. See, now is it good or bad that you know that?
That's a great fucking movie. Hold
I thought
on.
everybody
Let's
knew
start
that.
this. Let's start this off with some spice. All right.
Is it good or bad that you remembered the bit character's name from the beginning of the show? Though I don't know.
First of all, he's a very important pivotal character to the whole character arc of Newman, whatever
He
his
is the
real
capstone
Yeah, Newman.
from which the
whatever
arc
Newman's name is in that episode in that show movie.
Yeah,
Everybody knows him as Newman. That's
His
it.
name is Newman.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Newman.
guy.
and we also with us today. Speaking of Newman, he's a member of the Cleveland show. Mickey Antifa. What's happening, Mickey?
God damn, I hate Mickey so much. And he knows that's like if your name is Alex and everyone walks up and is like, "Hey, Alec." It's like, no, you were almost there, but that's not it.
My cousin's name is Alex, and I used to always call him Alexis as a joke. And my aunt would get pissed at me. She'd be like, "Stop calling him Alexis. His name's Alex."
It's like that fucking substitute teacher from Key and Peele. He's like, "Oh, excuse me, where is D Nice? Balake."
And also,
Denise? No,
and
Denise.
And also with us today, for the first time down in the underground. Don't worry, I'll just talk over you. Go fuck yourself.
Standard.
He is. Well, welcome to the show, Taylor. I just met you, 2 minutes ago? I don't know a fucking thing about you.
Was it that nuts and bolts and Boys Town?
Yeah,
Bolts.
I met him at the Blue Dolphin.
At the Blue Oyster.
At the Blue Oyster. That's right. Welcome to the show, Taylor. Tell us,
where's the Coke?
Yeah.
Like, this is all fine, but where's the Coke?
I'll be covered in.
We were down at the manhole and
Yeah. Don't call me Shirley. I was covered in cocaine like Balky Bartakamus in Not Perfect Strangers, in True Romance.
Is that a real thing, or did you just make that up? That sounds
True
very
Romance.
Old. That sounds like an old reference you just made, and I have no idea what you're talking about.
Have you ever seen True Romance?
Who's in that? I don't even know what that is.
Christian Slater and I forget
Rosanna Arquette.
Yeah,
Christopher Walken.
Rosanna Arquette when she was hot.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. The scene with it where he's talking to I forget the actor who plays. Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. When he's talking about the Sicilian,
Dennis Hopper.
Yes.
Yeah. He's talking to Dennis Hopper, and he's like, the Moors.
That was a great scene.
Your
Taylor,
grandma,
this is what I got to deal with.
By a ninja. and they're like this
Old
guy.
ass movie references.
I don't even know what the hell they be just lying. I think half the movies they be telling me about never actually were made.
You gotta watch
an inside joke that they
I've heard of
texted
this
each other.
movie. I can't speak to the
True Romance was a good movie.
True Romance is really. I'm a big fan of that movie, but I'm also a big fan of finding out who the fuck is Taylor. So give us the
quick and dirty.
Yeah, tell us about all your dirty underwear.
Don't do that.
It's all right
He's a
there.
hell of a
The
drug.
link is right there. I can introduce you to it. My name is Taylor. I got a channel that's Flow State, and I met Mikey through some atheist stuff, and
They already know. They know.
And the Blue Oyster.
I hate you.
Yeah, so
What is happening?
we were
here?
just in there, and he said, "Hey, you want to join us here?" So here I am.
There it
All
is.
right.
Let's get it.
Well, perfect. Well, welcome into the show. So
Thank
we'll get started. Though, first thing I want to say is that last week's episode of The Mandalorian was the best episode.
Wait.
Stop. Don't do it.
Just
Don't
wanna
do
tell
it. Don't
Wait.
do it.
I'm not going to spoil it because I know you. Haas is
Dutch, you
17
say
weeks behind.
Dutch, you say you don't spoil stuff while you spoiling stuff.
Right.
Like, don't even not spoil it this time, man.
I mean, your middle
Like,
name
for
is
real,
Joseph,
like-
dude.
Let's
We'll
talk
see
about
it.
it
We'll
next
see
week.
you next week on Voice from the Underground.
I'm just saying, can we just
See?
do it next week, please? Me and my girl are.
How many more episodes are there?
I don't know.
Don't they do 12 a season, right?
I've only seen one episode so far. I've only seen the first episode of the new season.
All right, I'm not as bad as Haas, but me and my girl had conflicting. Big Neil. Oh well.
Okay.
Well, no.
Oh, he invited himself on. Okay, you can come on. It's that easy.
What do you mean by come on here? Taylor, I am the inappropriate one of the group.
Oh,
But
I was
there's no
thinking the
question
same
about that.
thing. It's just,
But
Neil, if he
please-
says if he offers you coke, he's lying.
But please don't.
Cocaine is a
spoil
hell of a
the-
drug.
I would have watched it, but our work schedules conflicted, and we didn't get a chance to watch it.
Oh,
So
thank you. Okay, Chaz Hubbard has helpful information.
Thanks, Chaz.
Thanks,
Chaz
Chaz.
Michael Michelson.
Chaz Michael Michelson, MMA fighter. Hey, I do also want to get Chaz's perspective at some point in time on what's been happening, what was happening with boxing and MMA continuing to do a lot of their live events. And Chaz is an MMA fighter, so we got to talk to him about that.
oh shit!
soon.
I
So keep-
apologize for all jokes
Sorry.
I made in the past.
No, no,
Chaz. My bad,
he's-
Chaz.
He's
I was
0-7, but he's still MMA.
He about to be 1-7 if my little
Hey,
dumbass get in.
hey, but guess what? His next fight is with Nate Robinson. So
He'll be 2-8.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You liked Nate when he was on the Bulls. Don't do Nate.
yeah,
like
but
that.
I did not like Nate in the fucking ring.
No,
Yo,
but
why
Nate,
they put him up against that goddamn dude on stilts?
How
That
you
big
gonna walk-
gargantuan motherfucker.
Thing is, he walked into a 2-piece spicy with dry bread. Come on, dude. You can't do that.
Yo, y'all not finna just do Nate like this. Like, Nate was our homie. He blocked Yao Ming and Shaq. And y'all
Yeah.
gonna come up in here and disrespect him now?
That's not
Because
disrespect.
He got slept. Okay, it happens.
He got slept after he got woozied.
It happens in fight. You don't win every fight.
That's why I don't fight.
But we ain't gotta disrespect Nate's legacy like this.
you put on
His
you put on,
legacy is on the court.
yeah.
The boxing legacy is forever besmirched.
You know,
Oh,
it's
I
never.
can't just slide them in there together. I can't just.
It's
I can't-
almost never good
Pause.
when these guys cross over. I mean, even when boxers cross over to MMA, like remember Tony Tubbs? Am I saying his last name? He went over and did MMA, and he's just fucking horrible.
You know who didn't do too bad was Ken Norton, and Kendall Gill actually didn't do too bad.
Kendall Gill was actually pretty good. Yeah, he was a highly trained fighter though.
Yeah, he boxed for a while,
Yeah, Kendall Gill.
but then he was a pretty
boxer.
boy. He didn't like getting hit in the face. Yes, he
Yeah,
was.
Kendall Hill was like an amateur boxer while he was playing basketball. But anyway, we got away from
finding out about
from the Mandalorian. So I'm not
So
going to talk.
Taylor.
I won't give you spoilers. I'm just saying this episode. I thought it was going to be a
Stop! You're doing it
But then
right
what
now.
happened?
You're doing the thing.
I'm not doing it. You have to have
the
some
thing.
faith. Have some trust. Pretend
You
you're
are
playing.
doing the
listen,
thing.
Pretend you are playing Among Us. Trust.
No, never. You
All I'm
go
saying
in
is
the
trust.
airlock.
Trust. I thought this was going to be a filler episode because of the time.
Come on, man.
That's
You're gonna
all I'm
make it.
saying.
You're
And I'll
already
tell you-
told me it's exciting.
Don't say anything else.
Stop.
It's
Don't
an exciting
say-
episode, and it was directed by Robert Rodriguez.
See,
So
there
you
go.
got to see this.
Oh my
You gotta see this.
god. Oh
How does
my
telling you the
God.
director give you a spoiler?
Because that
I've been
gives you a little
enjoying
bit.
this. I'm
You know who
enjoying
Robert. If
hearing
you
the-
know who
hearing
Robert
it.
Rodriguez is, you kind of
Yes, you're giving. You're like you're not telling me what the picture is.
This is
but you're
all
describing
online.
the
None of
fr-
this is a secret.
I
Yeah,
didn't
but
have
I'm
a
not. I'm not
chance.
looking for it online,
Okay.
I didn't have a chance to
I
watch
get-
it.
I
I
get-
will.
He wore silver armor.
dude.
Is that he wears silver armor every show?
But Robert Rodriguez directing this particular episode.
It's Robert Rodriguez.
you-
Silver.
There was there was a baby Yoda in the episode.
being directed by Robert Rodriguez.
That's crazy.
So who knows?
Okay.
Big E's. What up, boy?
I look forward to talking about it. Hey, Tim Bristol's here. Welcome, Tim Bristol, from the Writer's Basement podcast. And I missed somebody. Someone else is here too. Ism.
Don't touch Timmy.
Is I saying it right? Ism. Ism works.
Ism.
Ism. Okay, I got to work on my ebonics. All right. So
Wow.
See how we do that,
That-
Ease? That's all right. Let me give you his personal email. I'll send it to you in the DM. Don't worry about that, Ease. I got you, dog.
all right. So I had a quick debate today with someone.
Mhm.
Can we find out about our guest first?
Well, he already introduced himself.
He
Didn't
gave us the
Or did I
quick and
forget?
dirty,
Okay,
yeah.
well, give us more. We'll tell us the A to Z
I want
in
more.
less than 7 seconds. Go.
I want more.
I want more.
Man, I love white people.
Yeah, give us some more, Taylor.
Oh, you want more? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a Sagittarius?
I am a Sagittarius.
Whoa!
Yes, sir.
Yo, in the
Hey,
show.
just call me.
Did we
Nico
just become
Thomas.
best? Did we just become best friends?
Are you a Sagittarius?
No, I'm not. I'm a Cancer. But Taylor,
It's okay. You can still
I
shoot
can tell
arrows
by
with
your
me at
eyes
this
that you're a
motherfucker.
Sagittarius.
You're gonna love my nuts.
All right, hold on. Now I got to interrupt. All right, Big Highs. What are me and Dutch?
Well, Dutch is an asshole, obviously. Let's see, Mikey.
Look
Mikey.
at my African American over here.
That's still on the board, dude.
I haven't had time. Yeah, no time. No
Oh,
time.
but
okay.
you can
Mikey,
spoil
Mikey.
Mandalorian for me, though.
Mikey, you strike me as
What
an
is
Aquarius or a Taurus. An Aquarius or a
Oh.
Taurus.
Incorrect.
You a Virgo, ain't you?
Incorrect.
Okay.
It's only like 3 left. Shit. I mean,
I ain't doing all of that.
Leo.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. You can see that.
I don't
you-
believe in it. I don't believe in astrology, so it doesn't matter.
You know your sign, though. All right.
Asshole
yeah.
it is.
What's Dutch?
He said
What?
it wasn't it.
Dutch is a Taurus. You know why? 'Cause
Why are you
almost
smiling?
Every Taurus I know, fucking asshole.
Is you a
Well,
Taurus?
he is
Except my wife.
correct. But he also knows when my birthday is, so it's
I
not
don't know
fair.
when your fucking birthday is.
Yeah, you sent me flowers, motherfucker. Stop
No.
trying to tell people you didn't.
Nope.
You are
That was
fake
not
news.
me telling that shit on live video
He sent-
podcast
He sent
land.
me. It was lilies and orchids, and it's just beautiful,
No
fragrant.
one has ever
okay.
clipped an orchid and gave the blossom to somebody. You know how long it takes for that? It takes
Hey,
a
he's-
year to get that blossom.
He sent that shit 1-800-Flowers. Now,
Oh.
Taylor, what you got for us?
Man, I don't know the context. I think that Mikey wanted to bring me on because I'm a conservative.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I should have set you up better. So what is your podcast about? What's your focus? What's
He's a
what is the
YouTuber.
reason why you do what you do?
So it's there's not a strong central focus. I do what I do because it's what I feel like doing at the moment. But most of my videos it started out basically around Jungian psychology. I'm kind of an armchair nerd, and it's personality type, basically, if you're familiar with any of that. And so that's the community I started dabbling with on YouTube, and the channel kind of came out of that. Lately, I've been indulging my conspiracy theorist side and doing a bit more videos about that as I can. So, but really, it's just whatever I feel like doing at the moment. So
Okay. So you're into analytical stuff then.
I do like analyzing things.
Okay. So because that's Carl Jung is famous for just analyzing shit, and I love that. So that's kind of what we do in a way. I think
In
all
a very
discussion.
simplified way.
Yeah,
Like claymation.
Yeah, Gumby. We're the Gumby of
analytics.
Yo, Gumby raised me. Like that was my fucking show. Even though it came out
Gumby on SNL was my shit.
What was that other one with the dog? Hey, Davy.
Oh,
remember that one?
Fuck.
Hercules.
Yeah.
The dog was Hercules.
I don't know.
It was a Christian show.
The dog's name was Hercules.
Yeah. But anyway, so you delve, Taylor, into a lot of psychology. You're conservative. So let's just start with the obvious. We've had lately, and I don't know how much you know about our show, but for those who might be tuning in from your stream, and Mikey, if you could send the link to him so we could share it, that would be great. Anybody who
the link to you, sir.
Me as a Jar. So for anybody who might be joining us,
when he gives me commands, I'm gonna do that from now on, Big House.
No, please don't do that. Anything but Jar Jar.
Gotta hit him with the Rochester from Laurel and Hardy.
I think the Jar Jar hurts more.
The Rochester from Laurel
Jar Jar is painful.
Jar Jar. Yeah, I hated everything about Jar Jar.
He ruined that movie. I mean,
he's great.
And he wasn't the only like cultural stereotype of the Asian Trade Federation guys. Oh, well, what the hole? You're going to shoot everyone. No, tell Palpatine. I'm like, oh my God, you're sitting. At the time when I watched it, I was like, it flew right by me.
It did not fly by me.
It flew by me until just now, and now it's so obvious.
But then, like a couple times later, after watching it, I'm like, wow, that's actually.
And also, don't forget about Watto. How they made him this money hungry, whatever he was. I forget the name of it, Tridarian. But he had a big old nose, and he was stingy with his coin. You know what that was a nod to, man. Don't play with me. They tried to play. They tried to play my people. Nah, bro. He was talking about Jewish people.
Yeah, I didn't miss
that.
He
was talking about Jewish.
You didn't miss that one, Taylor.
I didn't miss that one. I thought that was pretty ballsy. Yeah, that was ballsy.
Jedi mind tricks that don't work on me. Only money.
Because I'm George Soros, and George Soros cannot be bought.
I was like, don't be making fun of fucking my friend's GPAP over there. Like, fuck you, man. This is bullshit.
I'm going to buy your mother and give you universal free health care.
Don't you do that. Don't you do that to universal free hair care. It did nothing to you.
No, hair care, not health care.
Oh, shit.
Universal hair care. I'm not only the president, I'm also a client. So let's so we've tried to have, and we try to speak reasonably about things, reasonably speaking, about the contentious issues that are out there. Race issues seems to work its way in every podcast, but also political issues, and then we love pop culture as well. So as we've tried to have before the election, a few conservatives on. We've had multiple conservatives on the show, and I don't think they do particularly well, by and large, when you deal with facts. So, but nonetheless, I am a former conservative. I voted for a Democrat now 2 times my entire life. Joe Biden was the second Democrat I've ever voted for since 1992. So historically, I've voted for far more conservatives. But what is your, so with that in mind, what is your thoughts on what's going on here? We've had a few people on the last month and a half who've told us a lot of the same talk track, and where are you at on with the election? What do you think is going to happen? Just tell us what you think, and then we'll feel free to slice your legs out from under you.
So where I'm at with the election,
of course,
I think that the fraud was obvious. I don't know how it'll shake out. For whatever reason, I think that Trump will be president still. I don't have a good reason for that. It's just sort of an instinct. So I could certainly be wrong, but shit's weird. There's a lot of things up in the air, and I can't say that I have. any strong prediction that I'm tied to. I think anything could happen from here, and it's on the
Okay,
table.
so your first statement was the fraud is obvious.
Yeah.
So obvious to you and obvious to me must be two completely different things.
Probably the wrong word.
So now the fact that there is, you could say, okay, we found obvious fraud in this particular case.
Let me back up.
Fraud that matters. You know, what we lost? Oh, he removed himself real quick. Sorry, that just freaked me out. I thought we lost Mikey. So when you say the fraud was obvious, explain to me what you mean by that.
So out the gate, I think that mail-in ballots, especially in the way that they were rolled out, completely changing election procedures for the first time in history and putting really zero controls in place on them. I don't see how anyone could reasonably say that's not asking for fraud, and that it wouldn't be seized on. So I think just rationally, you have to recognize that that's going to happen. This is the most powerful position in the world. People are going to try to cheat if they can.
All right, sure. Nothing that you just said is wrong. Okay, I'll agree with you that if of the different types of voting that we have right now, the potential for fraud with a mail-in ballot is higher than it is with a standard ballot. However, the difference is about, and this is based on analytics and studies, the difference is about somewhere between 0.5 and 1.5% more possibility of fraud than you would have with an in-person ballot. So how is that 0.5 to 1.5% of difference? Let's say that 1 out of every 10,000 votes is fraudulent with
where did that number come from? That just doesn't sound. I mean, I don't know any better, and I don't have any numbers to give back to you. But that sounds
well. There's been fact checks done by Snopes, by Politico, by a whole bunch of left-wing places that you aren't going to believe. Right. But Daily Wire might go out there and say it's 77% more fraud. Well, that's bullshit too. But when you look at the propensity for doing fraud, you're taking a number that people, I tell you a number and you just say, well, it came from a place I don't like, so therefore we're already at an impasse. You're not going to believe anything we say.
I do think that, I mean,
how much more fraud is there with mail-in ballots compared to you take 100, let's just make it simple. I give you 100 mail-in ballots and 100 in-person ballots. How many of each are fraudulent?
I don't think that this is the sort of situation where we can measure and say this is the number that will be recurring, because each election is different, each location is different, and so I think that trying to apply a standardized number to something that's such a non-standardized process it doesn't work well.
So then, if you can't apply a number to it, how do you apply a fraud figure to it?
And then Big Haas after that, after you answer, please.
I don't have a fraud figure applied. I do think that if we look at, I mean, a number of things. There's film, there's affidavits, there's all sorts of things. You hear about these huge truckloads, maybe not truck, but I mean, there's a ton of ballots in certain spots. Some places I'm sure didn't have any. I don't know how to break it down and quantify it. I don't think anybody can accurately. I mean, nobody can accurately do that right now. But you can say for certain that, well, I mean, I can say for certain. In my mind, it's very clear that there had to be a lot in the key states, of course.
A lot of what?
That's where the fraud's going to be focused, right? Like, I live in Kansas. They're not going to fuck around with it here. I mean, we do have the Dominion voting system. That is.
What is that? Can you explain that for a second? Just for people who may not live.
Let me come back to that later.
Just for people who may not live in America, so they may not.
Okay, the Dominion voting system it's the voting machines that a lot of states have used. 28 states, I believe, used them, and there's a lot of controversy around them and the security of them. It's a foreign company. The data is processed in.
That's not true. It's not a foreign company. They're based in Denver.
The far off land of Denver.
They're a Denver-based American company. They are not a foreign company. That
They're
is
owned by
completely
Canada.
false. The owner is the one of the owners of Dominion is Canadian. The company is an American-based company. They're traded in America. They're U.S. headquarters. Their U.S. headquarters is in Denver. It's in Denver, Colorado. Their U.S. headquarters. So because it's because one of the owners is, when you say, first of all, when you say foreign, you're talking about foreign owned by one of the owners of the company is Canadian. That's true. Okay. That doesn't make it a foreign company. Nestle is an American company, but they're owned by people in Sweden. That doesn't mean that everything comes through Sweden. You have networks here available.
Never trust Sweden.
You know, there are tons of companies that from the United States that operate overseas as well. This is a common practice. It doesn't. But they have a United States headquarters that all of the people who work on United States elections facilitate through Denver. There's nothing going through Venezuela. There's nothing going. And when you guys say foreign, and again, I'm not trying to be a dick here, but when you guys throw the word foreign out, you throw out the word foreign to mean like scary. There's nothing scary about Canada. South Park proved that. Okay. So
when I say foreign in this context is relevant. This is an American system. The more that this process moves out of American hands, that's a vulnerability.
Big House, you want to jump in?
Okay. Well, two things. When we talk about fraud, a study by MIT showed that election fraud is about 0.00006% in national elections. And in certain states, it's 0.00004%.
How many zeros is that? Just so I can do it.
Nationally, it's 4 zeros. In states, it's 5 zeros before you actually get to a number. Now, so when we talk about for it to go from 0.00006% to enough fraud, widespread fraud, would be, it had to be like jump from that number to like 20 or 30 or 40%.
Probably around 13.5% is
right.
What you guys would need 13.5% of all votes to be fraudulent.
Do you guys have these studies pulled up already?
Well, I can pull up and share whatever.
No, I'm just, Google is your friend.
I'm not keyed up with any numbers. I got no data off the top of my head to
astonishing.
But to get to my second point though is this. There's a lot of people who are very like-minded like you, Taylor, that just have a gut feeling for the most part on emotion that there had to be fraud, there had to be something hanky going on because their guy didn't win.
Hold
on.
Don't reduce me to that.
Okay. But I'm just saying this.
Right.
Here's my thing. I'm just going to give you a quick analogy.
Sure. What your thing is?
Pause. Anyway, if something's going on with my car, right? I might have a feeling what it might be. Oh, it sounds like the transmission. Or maybe it's the blower motor or this or that. But I trust the opinion when I take it into my mechanic and he says, you know what, it's neither of those things. You just got a loose nut here in this thing here. And I'm going to tighten that up and we'll be done. It's like $50. So comparing that and extrapolating that out to what we're talking about now, our emotions on this are based on, and our feelings on this are based on certain things. But I can in no way assert that I know more than the lawyers, more than the judges, more than the current attorney general, more than the election officials and things like that. So if we've got all of these people, some of them Trump appointed, stating there is no widespread fraud, especially not enough fraud to change the outcome of this election. at some point, don't we have to say, you know what? My side hurts. I think it's my appendix, but I'm going to listen to the doctor when he just says that I've got gas.
Right. So real quick, I pulled up the MIT article. I'll zoom down here. So you have MIT right here. Okay. Vote by mail fraud. That's what it says here. Widespread calls to conduct the 2020 elections by mail to protect voters from COVID exposure are being met with, this is from April of 2020, are being met with charges that the system inevitably would lead to massive voter fraud. This is simply not true. Vote fraud in the United States is exceedingly rare, excuse me, with mail ballots and otherwise. Over the past 20 years, about 250 million votes have been cast by mail nationally. The Heritage Foundation, okay, the Heritage Foundation is conservative,
yes.
maintains an online.
George Soros. Oh wait, Republican. In my bad.
It's the mayor. What's his name? Sheldon Adelson.
Sheldon Adelson.
Yeah. Online, they maintain an online database of election fraud cases in the United States and reports that there have been just over 1,200 cases of vote fraud of all forms during that same time frame, right? Resulting in 1,100 criminal convictions. Of these, 204 involved the fraudulent use of absentee ballots. 143 resulted in criminal convictions. So that means that if you do that math there and you take 204 and you divide that into 250 million, I'm going to get quick math here. I believe that's 0.1%. Am I correct?
But
in
this case, we don't need to do the math. There's video footage, there's testimony, there's a lot of hard data that makes the speculation.
Can I jump in?
Yes, go, Mikey.
Okay.
Hey, look at you all queued up.
Well, no, it's the last thing that you said, and it's interesting that you said it that way because I've known you long enough to know that. Do you 100% trust the criminal justice system in this country?
Hell no.
Would you even 75%?
No.
Okay, so we have the same skepticism over the criminal justice system, right?
Yes.
It's motherfuckers lie.
Right.
A lot. And they say shit to get people wrapped up in some shit that they fucking don't deserve. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
Like, oh, you don't want to fucking give me your ID because you're some sort of sovereign citizen? Look at this blunt I found in the back seat. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of nasty shit, right?
Here's a copy of the Constitution in my pocket. That's my ID.
But it's funny because that kind of goes against what you said earlier.
Which part?
Because we just agreed on those like very basic tenets where it's kind of a let me get out of fucking there we go. Make it. I don't want you to feel self-conscious here.
Oh, you're talking about eyewitness testimony about trusting someone else's.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
So none
but
of
there were Republicans, so I trust.
None of us were there. And I don't trust Republicans either. But we can tier the strength of different data. And so the video I saw of a woman at an election center in the middle of the night running ballots through the machine by herself. That's going to be better data than somebody's word on it. And somebody's word on it who is there, and a sworn affidavit, I think is stronger than an MIT study where they're using other data to speculate about the situation.
Fair enough. I'll take that point. Okay. Do you know how many ballots Homegirl could have done by herself in that time? Like, how many ballots are we talking here?
Oh, I have no idea.
Like, yeah, I'm taking like you can just make something up. Like it doesn't even matter. Like that.
I'll play the game. Let's say she ran through 2,000. Yeah.
Right. Let's say this single person did 2,000 votes by herself.
Let's say she put 2,000 fraudulent votes that she wrote up herself for Joe Biden.
So you're saying that it's not enough to matter.
That's what I'm. That's kind of the larger nugget that I'm chipping at, and I think it's kind of.
But the thing is, like, we don't know. We don't know. It might not be enough to matter. But We
He
don't.
didn't lose, but he didn't lose by 2,000. He didn't lose by like 20,000. He lost by more than that.
Because what they say here, and look, if you listen, and Taylor, I'm not trying to dig on you, bro.
You're good.
But I mean, I listen to one of the curses of my life is I curse myself to listen to Rush Limbaugh and friends all day long, right?
Oh,
I mean, good for
I
you. Listen to both sides. I
listen to the radio station I listen to all day long. Here's the lineup: Glenn Beck, who is somewhat I can somewhat stomach. Rush Limbaugh, who I can't. Sean Hannity, who I can't. Terry Maxwell, who's a local racist, who I turn off. Yeah. And then after that is the worst of the worst. Pull up the information, Mr. Producer. Mr. Producer, what do you think of this? Mark Levine.
You listen to way more conservative shit than I do.
So, but I used
to listen to like the same, almost the exact same block, but I had the B-list squad. So I had Michael Medved.
Oh, he's the worst. Michael Savage.
I used to be down. Yeah. I was part of the Savage Nation.
Did you know that Michael Savage's son owns Rockstar energy drinks?
Get the fuck out of here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they're disgusting. Monster all the way, baby.
Yeah. So anyway,
Red Bull.
But here's the thing. Let's say that this lady was doing. Let's pretend. I'll say, okay, that lady, even though there's any number of things that she could have been running through the scanners. Okay. We don't even know that she was putting votes through the scanners. We don't know that she was or that she wasn't. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that she ran through 2,000 fraudulent votes for Joe Biden in 2 hours because she ran them through by hand. These weren't being processed by Dominion. We'll go back into Dominion because I happen to be quite well educated on Dominion. But but what Hannity and Rush and all these guys say is because she existed and because she did this, then there must have been thousands of hers out there doing the precise
How many did we not catch?
Right. Yes. So it's
one Skittle.
It's the creation of doubt, right? It's almost like saying, I found, this just came into my head when you said Skittles. I found a Skittle in my couch. So there must be hundreds of Skittles in my couch. And I'll never know how many because my wife won't let me put
it's like when someone puts a bucket of water, like an empty bucket into the ocean, and they pull it out and they say, the ocean has no whales. Like you don't have a large enough sample size to prove what you're saying. So even if there was this one person that is caught on video, apparently doing something that I don't even know is,
we don't know what she was doing. Actually.
I don't know. I don't know what that video shows me because it's a video.
Right. I mean, it's election night and she's running. Yeah, it was obvious.
It's election night and she's running ballots through a machine on election night. Astonishing. I can't believe someone.
But here's the thing: is like
after closing hours,
are we versed enough in election policy and procedures and protocols to know exactly what she was putting through the machine? I mean, my wife was an election official, and they scan more things than just ballots. So who knows what she was doing after hours? It could have been something totally on the up and up.
And this, in one instance, if there was just one video, if that's the only evidence we had, then sure.
So how many thousand videos do we have of people running ballots through after closing time?
I think that's kind of, and it sounds a bit dickish, but it's kind of like it kind of pokes a big hole in the argument. Because
the thing is, there's lots of everything was streamed. There's endless amounts of video out there. We know that.
Do you think that it is reasonable for people to suspect fraud? Do you think that there's enough going on in this election that the suspicion of fraud?
Not if you look at the statistics.
Yes. No. After last election, yes. With the Russia thing,
I'm with Taylor and Mikey. I'm absolutely fine with looking for fraud. In fact, I'm with you. If there's fraud, let's find it. Let's root it out. Let's get rid of it. I'm 100% in.
Here's the thing: is that the people in the know, the people who know way more than we would ever know,
they're in the deep state. They're the deep state.
Out of here. Even Trump appointed people. I mean, William Barr is the biggest Trump lapdog there is out there.
He's a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
And he was like, hey, no, there's not enough fraud that would have changed the outcome of this election. I mean, and this dude, he literally cups Trump's balls as he sleeps. Right. So Why would he say that?
I think that given the situation going on in the country and given how much doubt about the election there is, and you guys don't think it's justified, and I think it is, but regardless, the situation at hand is that there's a lot of the country that thinks that there was fraud.
That's
And
the important.
Where are you getting that from?
Oh no, he's precisely correct on that.
And I think that to restore faith in the election process, not just this election, but the process in general, it would be prudent to audit. I mean, just go through them properly instead of trying to put up walls and. I'm not talking about you.
Oh, okay. Because I'm thinking like this. If there was fraud, and all of these people who are in the know and know the intricacies, they know the nuances, they know the context of all of this. If, as you said, there's this fraud, massive fraud, that's got to be the biggest conspiracy involving so many people.
You heard about Epstein, like that?
I'm just come on, man.
Well, can I stack another block on top of that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me tell you this, and what Haas just said would be true. If Joe Biden, Venezuela, and Russia and whatever, and which would be amazing that Russia switched sides between 2016 and 2020, but because we know they tried to help Trump in 2016, everyone knows that. What you can say that Trump didn't accept the help, but we know that Russia was.
Stay on one topic.
We know that Russia was on that side, but nonetheless, you can say there's if there was a conspiracy to overturn the results of an election by committing the massive voter fraud, it would be the greatest constitutional crisis that this country has ever faced. I agree.
And the biggest double cross as well. I mean, it would have to be the hugest.
Reserve. The establishment of the Federal Reserve System is already a bigger conspiracy and a bigger crisis for our country.
But I'm just saying,
I'm not gonna disagree with that particularly, but at least when it comes to things like this, civic things. However, you also have to stack another block on top of that. If it's not if that's not the case, okay, and there is no fraud, then the claim that there is this massive fraud and trying to overturn the election that had no substantial fraud takes the place and then becomes the greatest threat to democracy in the country.
Exactly. I agree. And I'm not proposing an overturn. I'm proposing we should do audits or accounts. However, whatever can be done to resolve this problem. These are votes.
So Georgia's counted 3 times already. Right?
I mean, I don't know. I think
Georgia has had three recounts, and now they want another, and they're saying that Kemp is in on it.
So I have really interesting stuff about Kemp that came out this morning with his involvement with China.
So
pulled off the internet.
Okay, before we go to yet another topic.
Mm-hmm.
So I get that our election process is not perfect. One blaringly obvious thing is the Electoral College. We can talk about that later, or we're talking about that on another show. That's fine with me. But it's important for us to not lose sight of the fact that just because people have this election under a microscope because they are backing a certain candidate does not mean that all of the previous elections should have been under the same microscope. So let's say, yes, let's use the same level of rigor and enthusiasm for this election as we had on past elections. And even if we dig into those past elections, there is some element of fraud. It's negligible, and it's below the
I think Bush stole it. I think that there's a lot of fraud in getting Bush into office.
You guys hold on, Dutch. So if there is some level of fraud in every American election, period, point blank, like there's going to be some fraud. Someone's going to try to game the system. Someone's going to try to fuck some shit up. Do we have enough evidence now to say that this is more than what we already deal with every other fucking election ever.
The circumstances with this election are unlike any in my lifetime for sure, probably ever.
Based on what?
That's what I'm saying. Like, you
can look at the introduction of the mail-in ballots.
But so many states already use mail-in ballots. What are we talking about?
Absentee ballots, that's a different thing.
Hold on.
Military people do that all the time.
Absentee ballots are different from the mail-in ballots that were introduced this election. This is the first time it's ever
correct.
So let's leave that out of it.
Okay. Then
what was it? Okay, hold on. Let me ask the question, and then you'll answer appropriately, I'm sure. 2012. Do we have any sort of metric on what the level of election fraud was? 2016. Do we have another measure? 2020, do we have a measure? If we don't have something statistical, which is what you weirdos are in love with, if there's not a statistical change or difference, how do you know that you're complaining about something that just happened this time or that has been with you this whole time, but you're reacting because you lost? Not you yourself, but that side. You know what I'm saying?
If it's so, I suppose that objection is sort of a moot point, because if it's been with us the whole time, that doesn't mean that it's something that we should continue keeping with us.
I agree with that 100%, but it makes
that's fine. That's fair.
But it makes you look a certain way that you didn't say anything when Obama won. You didn't say anything when Obama won, but now you have something to say when Trump lost.
And
that's the problem.
After the votes were counted. Because you're going back in revisionist history, and you're saying, "Oh, look, we've all this fraud was here. We've known about it. Look, there's a couple things.
Where have you
been
for 40-something
Number
years,
one,
is what he
yes,
said.
there was more mail-in ballots this time because we had COVID. If you go back to, what was it, July, when Trump started wanting to snap away the mailboxes like Thanos. He started. Look, this is the thing that I don't understand why people don't realize this. He's been talking about this for months. This is why I did not vote by mail. I went and voted in person because I do not trust the GOP to sue and try to get my vote invalidated.
I took a picture of mine before I put it in. Yeah,
so but you voted by mail.
No, I voted in person.
Okay, I thought you said, but you took a picture of it before you sent it in.
No, before I dropped it off.
Right, and I took a picture of mine as well. But the thing is that he started saying, "Go vote in person." Biden was saying, "Don't vote in person." So we all knew there was going to be what was being referred to in a lot of media as a red mirage, right? Yeah. So it's basically like, Taylor, if you and I were going to we were running for student council, and because of the pandemic, they said anybody voting for Jason votes on Monday, and anybody voting for Taylor votes on Tuesday. On Monday, I'm going to be up 100% to 0. You might beat me the next day, So, but we did these things, and we mailed out these ballots, and we had the election run in this way because of COVID. Now, you can say COVID isn't real and COVID was manufactured for this and all that.
I don't think that's
a different. That's a different conversation.
Of the system doesn't matter. There's a new process, a massive new process for the first time.
The new process is because of an unprecedented
pandemic. It doesn't matter why. The fact is that it is there. We've got a new thing that we have never managed before. We don't have established processes for managing mail.
No, there is an established process for absentee ballots and mail-in ballots. It's just more of them.
But if you're saying you don't have that, there is no established process, then how do you know that the process went awry? You're saying that it's unestablished. You're saying that there's no way of knowing what it will and will not do. So then how can you say that it did what it wasn't supposed to do?
I'm saying I didn't say we know it didn't. I'm saying that we have a lot of reason. We have reason to question this election more than historic ones.
Why are we questioning it? But everybody with the power of decision making, besides Trump and people that feel like it's wrong, are like, no, there's no evidence of this.
Yeah, I know. Everybody on the left says there's no evidence of it.
No.
Except for
there are people, but people are wrong. Look, the left.
I'm talking about all of the people on the right who are certifying the election. All of the Republican conservative judges that are throwing these things out, these lawsuits out. It's not just the left saying this. It's not just left. It's not all Democrat judges that are doing this.
It's not. I consider myself right wing. I'm not a conservative. I'm not a Republican fan either. I think that
so it's the biggest conspiracy and double cross in the history of mankind.
No,
besides the Federal Reserve.
Just real quick, let me address a question. Jeff is asking. He's saying our argument is a logical. You need to clarify.
He's a Christian conservative. Get the hell out of here.
But it is an appeal to authority. The argument that we should trust the people.
I don't know what logical fallacy you're referring to. But
the appeal to the argument that we should trust the experts and not think for ourselves.
Okay, so we do our own appendectomies.
That's exactly Well, that's exactly the reason why we're doing this show right now. Okay, But any expert that's going to come out on Fox News or OANN or Newsweek is going to tell us that it's one way. Any expert that comes out on virtually any other outlet is going to tell us it's another way. So, and now Fox News is even starting to bring people out that are saying it's going the Biden way. And I understand that you guys. I understand that you guys feel disenfranchised. I get, I'm not trying to take the emotion away from you. I'm not trying to say that you don't have a right to feel the way that you feel, or to investigate this to make sure that things are fine. But you're investigating it in hindsight because and actually that's not even true. Whether you knew this was happening or you just kind of jumped on, I don't know. But where I was going before is this isn't actually in hindsight, because they've been setting this up since July to be able to question the ballots, because Trump knew that he was down in the polls. Trump knew that Biden's voters were going to, en masse, vote by mail. And if he was going to lose this election, he wanted to be able to cast doubt on those Biden ballots in the case that he won, so that he could overturn the election and make sure that he won.
You're saying
he definitely knew what he was doing.
Trump wanted the mail-in ballots that he said the whole time he didn't want, and he got the Democratic machine to implement them for him for this plan.
That's not specifically what I said.
Just like in 2016, when he fully expected to lose, and he was talking about how it was going to be rigged. He did the same thing. He just recycled that again, and it turned out that he got his ass whooped.
What I'm
now
saying,
it's like, oh, there's this doubt. I've been saying it since then, and
yes,
people know he's a genius. He's not a genius. He knows that he's a fucking bullshit.
Let me say something bipartisan here. I agree that all fraud in elections should be gotten rid of.
Absolutely,
and we should do. And I think all of us can agree that we should do our damnedest to make sure that it's not present in any elections going further.
Correct.
It looks and smells away when people only say things when they lose.
And
because
hold
on. Because it's strange that I didn't see a lot of Republican or right wing or conservative. I didn't see a lot of fire and brimstone when Trump won. Even when Trump won the primary. I didn't see that. So if you say it now, even if you mean well, and I'm doing a lot of assuming here, and I'm giving a lot of fucking room to grow. But damn, it looks away when Trump loses and now it's fucked. But Trump won and it wasn't fucked. But Obama won, it was fucked. The way before that, it was fucked. But
it's fine. But that's really not that important.
So let's all be consistent across the board. And let's all investigate all elections, and let's move forward from there. But we can't stick on this point because
but neither side has been fair and balanced historically always, and that just. But regardless, that perception is I don't think important to the structure of what's happened and going on, and I think that another reason this election is way different. Is look at the tension in the country. Mm-hmm. It's been burning for 10 fucking months. This is a hugely different situation than ever, in our lifetimes before that. I think that warrants treating it with extra precautions and extra diligence and making a show of that so you can give people faith in the results.
Just to change gears slightly, if Trump had won, what do you think Trump would have done for the U.S. positively to move us forward? What do you think would have happened had he won?
As far as like faith in the election system,
just in general, like
no, in general,
first 100 days and then like 4-year plan. Like, what do you think? Where would we be sitting in a better spot if Trump had won?
Well, because I think this election is really what we're voting for is whether or not we're going to continue to be America first or the globe first. The World Economic Forum's Great Reset. You know, this is a globalist versus nationalist election in my mind.
So when you say that, like, what do you mean by globalist versus nationalist? Like, not everybody might be, not everyone may not be as versed. So what do you mean by that when you say that?
So it's there's too much going on for me to really do justice right now in this response. But I encourage everybody to look at the World Economic Forum's website whenever they got a spare minute, and look at the agenda that.
Well, I don't want you to refer them to something. I want you to explain to them
the World Economic,
like they're here for the nugs.
So
you know what I mean?
The Great Reset is a program that the UN and the World Economic Forum and these European globalist entities are pushing worldwide, and the justification given for it is we need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So the Great Reset fundamentally changes the way everybody in the world lives, works, travels. It's very much a top-down, structured, dystopian.
So that federation is out for clean energy. Like you're losing me here. Like I'm trying to.
Are you talking about a global like currency or something something biblical like the mark of the beast? Where are you going?
Well, the global currency is part of it, or the digital currency, a centralized digital currency. If you look at the way China is set up, because China is the test country, they've got a lot of smart grids. They got the social credit scores, and your behavior needs to fall in line, or else you start, getting locked out of your house because it's on a smart grid, or they deactivate your money, or you don't get on a bus. That sort of social control system, the technocracy, is what they're basically trying to push onto the rest of the world, and Joe Biden is absolutely on board with that.
So what you're saying is that the Democrats, by and large, are trying to implement a new technocracy. I don't know how to say it.
I mean, yeah, you can think of it as
a cabal,
as the European Union, basically. Not the EU. I'm sorry, UN. The UN. It's a forfeiture of the individual and the national rights to a global entity.
But isn't that what America, in a de facto sense, has always done the opposite of? Because we've always pushed American interests around the world at the expense of other countries without really much remorse or worry about what dictator, look what we did. We're responsible for what's going on in Iran. We put up a puppet president in Iran, and Iran was secular and women were in bathing suits and all that type of stuff. And then they decided that they didn't like what the United States did. So they, the Ayatollah, and the rest is history. And now you have a theocratic regime. We've done the same thing. We fight proxy wars.
But just because
through Saudi Arabia right now,
and I don't support any of that stuff. We've done lots of scuzzy stuff. That doesn't mean that I want to then go ahead and live my life, give up my my personal property and get rid of my car. And yeah, I mean,
Who's telling you to do that?
The World Economic Forum. This is part of their plan. Includes individuals not owning property, people not
At
driving
all?
cars.
Wait. No one can own property is what you're saying?
One of their video presentations that they released, it was it was eight ways the future will change or something like that. And yes, one of them was explicitly, they said, you will not own property. What you need will be delivered to you by drone. I'm telling you, if you have, it sounds wacky, but this is straight exactly what they said. So yeah, individual property gone. You won't eat meat, or you won't eat nearly as much meat. It will be an occasional treat instead of a staple of your diet.
So
invasive.
So you say that that's invasive. You now understand like the way that we live, me and you live right now, where we cook up a delicious pan seared, and then you got the glaze with the butter. You do the drizzle on there with the butter and the garlic. You know, that's not sustainable. That's not a sustainable way of living. So I think people who are in positions where they can influence the path of us going forward, I can see how they would direct us out of that path. Like my great grandchildren would look at me as some sort of weird barbarian that ate meat, animal flesh. Like that's weird. That would be weird to them. Just as much as we thought it was weird that certain grandparents called other people colored. And
so you're cool with the idea of the World Economic Forum telling you what to eat and what to drive? And
they're not telling me anything. They're not telling me things, and I think that's kind of where that's where the rub meets. That's what meets the rub. It's not someone so much telling me something, but if enough people, like we all know a couple really smart people, if they all said, it'll be probably super rare that someone drives a gasoline car in like 50 years. That's not them telling me what to do. That's them looking at how things are, how things will probably move forward, and them giving like an educated hypothesis towards the situation. I don't think they're telling me what to do. They're guessing what's probably going to happen next.
They're just doing it. They're just changing the infrastructures and systems of countries. They're ripping up half the parking spaces in half of all the parking in Paris.
Where do you want me to click to source what you're talking about here?
Scroll down. The Paris thing I was just talking about is one of the videos about halfway down. I think in the middle. The 8 ways of the future. They pulled that video off the YouTube channel. I do have it downloaded locally on my phone.
You went too far. There's a more thing. It only does so many on the. Yeah, there you go. There we go. And I don't think like even the title of that, like global agenda, I don't think that's like a bad thing.
Because it's a scary term to Rush Limbaugh, that's for sure.
But that's the thing though, because everybody wants everyone to have like be like Americans first and like think about Americans first. So if that is a proof of concept, then why isn't a world Earth a good thing? Because let me tell you something. If there is an asteroid coming towards the Earth that's like 2 kilometers wide and people know it's going to hit North America, do they just let the shit hit us because like, yo, fuck y'all? But no, or do they help us because they know that it's going to be bad for them from all the particulate that's going to be up in the air and that's going to black out the clouds for them for a while?
Well, I think that I don't mean this to sound derogatory, but I think it's incredibly naive to think that forfeiting your autonomy to somebody who says they're doing nice altruistic things is naive and historically has never been how anything's worked out. So people don't use power benevolently; they use it selfishly. The more
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
You're assuming that they're going to use this power in any sort of. You're assuming that you have evidence that they've used this power to actually oppress somebody.
Why would I risk that? Why would I risk that and assume that they won't?
Do you really hear the privilege in your voice right now?
To want to make my own decisions about my own life? No, I think that's human nature. I mean,
And you're completely on board on all accounts for people doing the exact thing that you just said, that they have the autonomy to decide to do what they want to do at all times.
That's not what I said. Not everybody can do everything they want at all times.
So who makes the rules for that?
Who does make the rules?
I'm asking you, so you can't ask me.
Who is making the rules? Right now, I believe we already have way too much centralized authority with institutions and governments. I want individuals to make authority or to make decisions to the greatest extent possible.
No, that you've said more than enough for me to ask my next question for you. I decide it's okay for me to take your stuff. Who is the person who's going? What is the body that's going to stop me from taking your stuff?
So coercion or victimization, when you've got one party forcing another party to engage in something they don't want to, that is when you need laws, police, whatever.
No, I don't respect your fucking police. How dare you send police after me after I've decided to take your stuff and get all of your worldly possessions, all of your fucking generators, all your tools, all your everything. I'm taking all of it. I'm going to give you $1 for it. It is now trade.
I do not accept that offer. So
you don't have a right to decline this.
See, that's where it is. It's coercion. That's when it. What's up, man?
Big Haas. I'm sorry. I've been hogging the microphone.
He's being polite up there, and you.
He getting a little sip on. I see him over there. I see Big Homie with this. Ooh!
Well, before he talks, just Tim's comment here on the World Economic Forum. His comment says they are policy ideas, not commandments. I think that's a fair thought about it, and I think you can also probably draw a parallel into what people talk about with the Green New Deal, because the Green New Deal was not policy. It was ideas for this country for 100 years from now, 75 years from now. And, I think that a lot of this might be the same thing. That doesn't mean some of it might not be malevolent. I don't know the people who run this thing, but I don't think you do either. So,
which is a problem. That there's these people that we've never heard of, not elected. These people in Davos decided how the world's going to be. You don't see just a huge amount of narcissism and
well, we have Trump as a president. I see narcissism every day.
I mean, that's great. No, hold on. I'm interrupting. I'm interrupting. I'm so rude. I'm
not gonna have that.
So rude.
I'm in the competition for this noise space right now.
Yes,
I'm not gonna back down.
Well, were you going to refute my fact that Trump is narcissistic? Because I'd love to hear that. But anyway.
I don't. That's not what I'm talking about.
Facts in the way of my argument.
Any person who will self-apply the authority to determine how the whole world lives without them even knowing about it. That is a degree of self-importance that I don't think you can expect altruism for. They already know what's better for everybody, and they don't even need to tell you about it.
Who is they?
They is they. What are you talking about?
They is Klaus Straub. Butcher's name is German, but he's the president of it. Prince Charles is really
the Rockefellers, the Hans. It's the same.
It's all basically the fucking elite of the elite. They're not. There's no. None of us are up there. There's no regular people. Big Haas.
You've been so patient. It's so unlike you. Are you gonna go angry black man on us now?
No, that's my job, man. He's a smooth black man.
I just got two questions.
He's big boy. I'm 3 stacks.
All right, so You're all about people having the rights to live their lives as they want, make the decisions that they want. So you're obviously pro-life, pro-choice.
Yeah.
Good. Second thing, we're talking about the World Economic Forum or whatever. You're portraying this as if they're like, these are the things we're going to do as an organization, and whether they like it or not, instead of it being, because of our addiction to fossil fuels, it would be not out of the realm of thinking for us to not be driving gasoline cars in 50 years, or because of overpopulation, especially for our food sources and animals, not being, if they're being consumed faster than they can breed, you're going to be moving toward a more agrarian diet. That's just logic following, not necessarily
that's not what they're
orders
doing.
being given.
Yeah, they're not doing that. They're not hypothesizing. They're interacting with governments of countries to implement this now. This is being implemented. It's not being.
How?
They're not just sitting around and thinking about it.
How?
And you believe that that this is being. I'm going to try to answer that for him, because I'm guessing here.
Mm-hmm.
You believe that this is being ushered along by Marxists?
No, not. No, I think that Marxists, as far as like Antifa, I think that they're useful idiots. They've got their part in tearing down.
How dare you call Mikey an idiot?
And tearing down,
made that name for me. That's not my
tearing
name.
down an existing.
Habitually, he's a habitual line stepper.
But I wouldn't call them communists in the colloquial sense.
Well, there's a huge difference between communists and Marxists, which people gloss over
I
all
wouldn't
the
call
time.
them Marxists. I would call them.
And we do know that Marxists are largely peaceful people in as an ideology.
I would not call them Marxists.
Well, so you would say, and that it's ushered along by progressives, liberals, somebody on the left spectrum of.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. They're authoritarians.
But we got the biggest authoritarian in office right now.
I understand that you don't like Trump and think
no. It's not about me not liking Trump. It's about me watching what he's done.
President for our country, right? So,
but he's an authoritarian. He's not an authoritarian. You don't think?
He's not an authoritarian. I do not think he's an authoritarian. But I also
he's calling legislators to pressure them into overturning ballots.
Look,
and a
Trump
intervention into the electoral process.
Trump is about as authoritarian and pro-authoritarian mindset as any human being that I've ever seen on television.
Here. Let me say this.
It's still not where I want to go. Like that's
authoritarian. It's an adjective, favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government, at the expense of personal freedom.
Right.
So you don't think Trump is an authoritarian?
I don't.
By that definition.
Who was more authoritarian, Barack Obama or Donald Trump?
Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of the government.
Do you remember how the
personal
ACA
freedom.
got put in? Do you remember when they were voting on the ACA and it didn't pass? And then they paused session and they started pulling senators into back rooms privately, and then they'd come out and change their mind. That was
whips have been a thing.
You didn't answer the question. Yeah. You didn't answer the question. Who was more authoritarian? Obama.
I think Obama is. I know we're not going to agree. We are not going to agree on this.
But we're not like a pro-Obama show here, okay?
Right.
So it's like we're critical of him all the time. But to compare those two together is like saying is almost like comparing a pastor to like Jimmy Kimmel. They're not even in the same conversation.
What has Trump forced you to do in your life or tried to? How has your life been impacted in a authoritarian way under Trump and not under Obama?
That has affected me specifically, probably nothing, but has affected many other Americans. Many. Let me give you some examples.
What about the trade war? What about the tariffs?
Well, that's
great for us.
No.
Say again?
Oh, ask Dutch how great that's been for him. How great would a tariff?
Oh, I don't have a job because of more now because of COVID. But a year and a half ago, I got laid off from a different job in air conditioning due specifically to the tariffs, because the pricing on air conditioning systems specifically went up about, I think it was 19% in a year when the general average was about 7%. And that was all due to the price of metals that come from China and having to buy those from United States companies who now, which there's no problem with buying them from United States-based companies, but because United States-based companies now did not have any competition from China, they elevated their prices, whatever they wanted to do.
Well,
a tariff is a tax.
Well, let's
is a tax.
A
tariff is a tax.
Hold on.
But I also
let's talk about all of the farmers that went belly up during the trade war. Let's talk about all of the truck drivers who lost their jobs during the trade war.
But also the trade war. The trade war has, with all due respect, has nothing to do with the authoritarianism part of it. That's something that an authoritarian person did, right? But Donald Trump. Let's look back at the kneeling situation.
Just to be fair, Dutch, can he answer the first part before we give him a second part? Can we let him in there?
Who?
Taylor.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Of course.
Can we let Taylor get his second part in before we do first part in before we do the second part?
What's the first part?
Yeah, I'm lost too.
We gave him too many, like, we got to get better about that. Like, we give guests like 86 things to answer to, and they're like, oh shit.
I know who's guilty. You know who's guilty of that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Fucking Hodge with his 14-step questions that he asks people 45 minutes later.
What about Legos, Mega Blocks, Rubik's Cubes?
You knew Connects was the best.
Yeah.
What was the first?
There's too much evidence out there, so you gotta put it all out.
What's the first question, though?
Well, what we were talking about, I'm totally fucking, because I was about to talk about why
we were
Trump is
talking
authoritarian, but
the ways that Trump has been so authoritarian in his governing. I mean,
yeah,
like we were talking about.
Well, he asked me to give examples of that and how it affected my life.
Right,
and like I said, it does. I would say that the trade war thing was not. It would be difficult for me to blame Trump specifically for that, for how it impacted me, because that was he made a decision that caused other people to make a decision that caused other people to make a decision that caused other people to make a decision. So it's somewhere along the line. Somebody could have said,
what was the first domino?
It certainly started with him, but there's also multiple pegs along the line.
They charge tariffs to us, and we weren't charging it to them. That imbalance was basically a subsidy for foreign producers. That was hurting our local producers. That's why that had to be brought into balance.
You're talking about the trade deficit?
No,
which is bigger now than before.
I'm talking about the exchange between the U.S. and China, because China was taxing our exports to them, but we were not reciprocating. So effectively, there
was a tax; it just wasn't as much.
But you don't have to. You don't have to reciprocate with. Look, if I go to Walmart. And now we're going on a rabbit hole here. But if I go to Walmart and I'm buying Q-tips from Walmart, and then Walmart has a job that comes up, and I'm, say, a plumber, and I bid for that job at Walmart, and they don't give me that job, then I don't for me to retaliate and start. And Q-tips are probably a bad example, but if
you're not putting them in your ears, are you?
Yeah,
you're not supposed to put them in your ears.
I do it all the time.
My Q-tips. Oh, it is. That's just better than sex.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Whoa, what?
You're doing it wrong.
If I retaliate and start buying my Q-tips at Walgreens, instead of Walmart, and I'm paying more now for those Q-tips than I was paying for them from Walgreens because of the fact that I was spiteful about the fact that Walmart didn't give me a contract. I am actually hurting myself because I'm now paying more for something that I could have gotten elsewhere. That's not
how that works. I probably
precisely how it works.
I probably should have said earlier in the introduction, I've got an economics degree and I worked as a commercial banker for almost a decade.
Great. Then how is elasticity wrong?
Dutch, we gotta let him finish, man.
When China charges us, our producers, a tariff to sell over there, it harms their competitiveness in the market.
In the Chinese market?
There, right?
Yes, in the Chinese market.
When theirs sell here and we don't do that, it gives them an advantage in our market that we don't have over there. Their exporters have a leg up over our exporters.
I have a follow-up question. Would you say that the quality of American goods is equal to, lesser than, or greater than?
Neither of us, if this is raw steel, neither of who knows?
Yeah, I totally agree with it. Raw steel is raw steel, but the point is,
but I'm talking about,
we're responsible for our economy, not the economy of China. But
our
our economy, we pay more because of trade war. A plus B equals C. Your economics degree is great, but it doesn't change basic mathematics. If you are raising the price on something, it costs more.
Yes,
100%, which means Americans pay more. Okay. Yeah. Now, again, we're arguing about something that is 2 years old. I'm going to let you have the last word on this and then we'll move on back to
Americans do pay more. Tariffs are not ideal at all. I prefer there were none. However, when you have that imbalance, when you let your trading partner have advantages that you don't have, it makes it so that our producers can't compete nearly as efficiently. It puts us out of the industry eventually.
Okay, but why? So let me. All right, because you decided to go there, I have to lie to you, and I'm going to say something else. Okay, yeah. Why do our producers? Why does our steel cost more? Well, let me tell you. I've told this story before. Do you know why and you have an economics degree, so it should make complete sense to you. Do you know why Toyota even has a market segment in the United States in the first place?
I don't.
They have a market segment in the United States in the first place because during the 1970s, when right as the interest rates were starting to trickle up, when they really skyrocketed in the 80s, you had the Japanese who have workers who had a more efficient assembly line, had less money going into the capital of the company and more being invested into their workers, spending less on spending money on capital gains, but that's not what I meant to say. They were spending money on capital gains, but not giving it to CEOs is where I meant to say. And the government of Japan was providing healthcare, universal healthcare for their employers. While here in the United States, we had unions that raised wages, which was fine, but they also burdened the employers with having to provide health care for all of their workers, instead of letting that burden fall onto the federal government, which caused them to have to pay more money. And therefore, Japan was able to send the Camry in at like 60% the price of a Nova or something of that. No, the Nova was a shitty car anyway, and we're able to penetrate that market.
So essentially,
right?
So essentially, the government.
The problem is with our corporate structures here. We pay CEOs $1 billion a year, and we we don't have the nice little bell-shaped curve there.
No, Japan paid for the healthcare of the company's workers. Japan subsidized the car production.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I just said.
Okay.
That allowed those individually owned Japanese companies to penetrate a new market, which brought more money, shocker, to Japan and allowed them to, even though they were subsidizing something, now they have more money. We let that happen because of our corporate greed.
No, it's not primarily because of the if what you described is true, and I'm going to assume it is, paying a CEO 1 million or 10 million is going to be negligible compared to the fact that you have the taxpayer saddled with an expense that goes into that car. The workers' health insurance is paid for by the taxpayers.
Yeah, but you're paying for your health insurance right now anyway. You're paying for it. Your employer's paying for it, and therefore paying you. If you believe in trickle down, which I'm guessing you probably do,
paying for it, right?
But do you believe in trickle down economics?
I don't want to say yes. I don't not
okay.
believe,
so Keynesian economics then.
I don't believe in Keynesian.
Okay.
Yeah, you can consider me more
eclectic.
Trickle down. Yeah.
Okay.
It's got big problems, but it's not as bad.
No, I totally agree with. I mean, there's Japan had at the time, and I don't know that it's this way anymore. At the time, they had way more of what you call a fair market rather than free market society in the 70s. But the expense for healthcare is going to come regardless. Somebody's going to pay for the healthcare. Now, our healthcare in this country costs more per patient. They spend more, and the doctors make more per doctor than they do in a lot of other countries. Now, that's not necessarily, the second part isn't necessarily a bad thing, but the first part certainly is. Our prescription drugs here are sold for way more money than they are in other countries. Okay, we're paying this.
Trump's addressing, by the way.
Trump, well, he's said that he was going to fix it 11 times, and yet the prices continue to go up.
I don't have any prescriptions, but I've heard from what I hear, it's been a.
If you know any diabetics in your life, their life has not been the same as it was 4 years ago.
I've heard EpiPens plummeted.
What do you mean plummeted?
They went up.
I don't know, because I just remember that was one that was.
They went up.
EpiPens went from being $50 a piece, which was already like $50. I don't know if I got $50. They're like $600 now, and they expire after 2 years.
Yeah, and
you have to throw them away.
And let's not forget, and again, for those who've listened to the show a lot, and I probably said this before, but when you go to the dentist and they take your X-ray, all of that equipment is 15, 20 years old. Why is that technology still costing me the same when my cell phone or my TV or my microwave, it's out for 2 years, it's expensive, and then all of a sudden the price drops because the technology becomes more accessible and cheaper? PlayStations, for example, always more expensive in the beginning, and then they get less. Why do you raise the price of the same X-ray machine, of the same X-ray film, to 11 to 15 times more than it was when you bought it? It's because there's no regulation on that. Okay, now we gotta get back into the Trump thing. Where I was going with Trump, and I'm sorry to dance around here, but we do have a clock. So Trump, as far as the authoritarian part of it, I'm just going to give you a couple of quick things.
Okay.
During the kneeling with Kaepernick, right after he took office, and all of that really, it started under the Obama administration in 2015, but it really caught fire in 2016, 2017, the first year of Trump's reign, so to speak. He was petitioning NFL owners to fire people who work for a private company. He was telling them what they should do with their employees. That's authoritarian.
He was making a public statement, and he wasn't going to them and telling.
He met with Jerry Jones and tried to get Jerry Jones to change his policy.
Hold on.
That is not what I've heard. I think that he was making public statements. He makes a lot of public statements.
Even if it was just on Twitter, it's still borderline illegal.
No,
it's the president.
Yeah,
you cannot interfere with the day-to-day business decisions.
You can voice an opinion. That was an opinion. There's clearly a cultural opinion.
But when
Big Haas, go ahead. Big Haas, go ahead, and then we got to get some decorum here. So
you and I voicing our opinion on the Colin Kaepernick situation holds a lot less weight and gravitas than the president. Just like on some of his tweets, markets rose and fell on his opinion on certain things. Because we talk, the market ain't going to do shit. He talks.
Wait till tomorrow morning.
he talks and the market changes.
He talks and 78 million Americans listen and say, I'm going to react based on that, what he said too.
So
right?
So did
there's a reason. And also too, second point, speaking to this gravitas, there's a reason why in cities where he's had rallies, there are spikes in violence and hate crime in the days and weeks following his rally.
That's
yeah.
You think it's all the MAGA hats running around lighting things on fire and pulling that's MAGA hats?
There is evidence. Studies show hate crimes and violence toward minorities and marginalized communities rise after in cities that have had Trump rallies.
But you know what? I mean, you know what really raises crime against minorities is when Black Lives Matter decides to march in and burn their fucking houses down.
Hold on. I got this. Here's something that's funny about Black Lives Matter and the thing that you just said. I'm from St. Louis. I was living in St. Louis during Ferguson. Nothing really got burned down. A couple of places got set on fire because if anybody knows anything about smoke gas grenades, 40 millimeter gas grenade, they're very hot. So when you fire them at protesters and they go into, I don't know, a gas station, or when some auto parts distributor decides, I'm probably not going to sell the second half of this year's fucking stock, but if I can put some shit into here to burn the whole bitch down and get that insurance money. If insurance fraud and police misconduct explained a lot of St. Louis, I think you'd find a lot of the similar results found around the country.
It's the same playbook.
It's the same.
People
hear blacks rioting and they start setting their shit on fire and they take the insurance money.
It's mostly fucking white people.
Black people don't like that's the thing about Ferguson. They said they were throwing Molotov. Well, I'm just as an allegory. They were saying the people in Ferguson were throwing Molotov cocktails. So that's either gasoline, which motherfuckers on the north side of St. Louis is not throwing no gas anywhere. Like gas is like you can't even go down the street without $5 in my tank. Fuck you thought. Or liquor. But that was their story, is that these north side motherfuckers was throwing alcohol and gasoline to show their distaste for cops. You clearly don't know motherfuckers from the north side.
I don't know about. I mean, this isn't Ferguson, and the cost of gasoline is clearly not a barrier to entry if you've ever tried to look for bullets lately. I mean, as far as the price of weapons go, but regardless.
Why do you think that it went up?
Price of weapons?
Yeah.
Because of how much violence and more, even more than that, the potential for more violence there is. People want to be able to defend themselves.
Do you think more Republicans or Democrats bought more weapons in the last 2 years?
Republicans always buy more weapons, but Democrats are starting to buy their first weapons in mass.
Yes, that's true.
So in the last 2 years, who do you think has bought more? Republicans or Democrats? Or left or right?
The right, obviously.
Bad news for you. You'll find out. Tune in next week on Dragon Ball Z. You'll find out the answer to that question.
And the funny thing is why. Taylor, I think you're an intelligent guy. You have to ask yourself why things happen, right? There's always going to be a why.
Sure.
There's this narrative like from a few weeks ago when MAGA did all their protesting everywhere and they're marching around and they say, look, this is how
nobody's getting arrested. But
this is how you do a protest. There's nothing's on fire. We're cleaning up our garbage when we're done. We're such amazing people. because and I support your right to go out there and protest because you felt marginalized, right? You felt marginalized
for a few weeks.
And yeah, exactly. You felt marginalized, you felt oppressed, you felt unfairly treated, and you took to the streets after a whole 2 weeks of being marginalized, oppressed, and feeling like you were treated unfairly by the system. How do you think that MAGA would feel if that continued for 50, 70, 200 years? And then you expect, hold on. And then you expect that when Colin Kaepernick kneels on television and they call him an America hater, and then people start rioting 3 years later and they say, why don't you just protest peacefully? Well, motherfucker tried to do that shit and they told him he hated the fucking
They tried to do
military.
that for decades before that.
And I'm sick and tired of it. If you're a bully and you're bullying a kid on the playground for years, and if I'm the kid you're bullying, let's say you're bullying me, and for years you're bullying me for months, and then turns into years, and I go to the principal and I say something, the principal blames me or doesn't or gives the kid a stern talking to, and it continues and continues, and I'm not allowed to, and I feel like I can't join this club. I feel like I can't try out for this team because I'm being bullied and bullied and bullied and bullied in my schoolyard. And then one day I say, fuck this. And I come to school and I punch you right in your fucking face. Am I all of a sudden a violent person?
Are you saying that the riots and the looting that it's justified and we should just?
Can I handle this one?
I'm not saying it's justified.
Well,
I'm telling you, I understand.
I'm telling you,
I understand the mindset.
Pass the ball, Dutch.
Yeah,
I can get it. Yeah,
give me that. No. Pass me. Hold on.
Haas got the ball.
Martin Luther King Jr., who the right loves to cherry pick, said it best. I cannot, in good conscience, sit here and condemn riots without first condemning the situations that lead people to believe that the only fucking way they can get their voice heard is to resort to rioting. So, is it justified? Oh, if you look at it in the micro sense, probably not. But if you take a fucking step back and look at the totality of all of the peaceful things that have gone on for fucking decades, then you have to sit and say, this isn't necessarily right, but goddamn, we're kicking them in the teeth for 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years. So when they kick me in the shin back, now I'm going to act like I'm the harmed one?
I'm not
just saying. I'm saying as an example.
As a cult, as a society, and Mikey knows I'm no fan of cops. I think the criminal justice.
It's not just about cops, though.
Let him finish.
I'm sorry.
I think that the criminal justice system, in particular, it's a shit show. I got a lot of problems with it. I don't think it's just. Now, does that mean that it is just for people to be victimized who were not part of the problem? They just happen to live in Seattle, for instance.
Okay.
If you're not part of the problem, but you're not doing anything to stop the problem, are you part of the problem or not? If the kids around the bully aren't stopping the bully, okay, and they catch an errant elbow, are they, they didn't stop anything for years.
I hear you. Let him finish. Let him finish his thought, and we'll hop back in.
So the businesses that happen to be in the autonomous zone when it kicked off, the people of all races who lost their businesses, their lives, whose lives have been torn apart. We should who have never probably done a racist thing in their life. Maybe they actively try to work against it. We don't know. They're arbitrary victims. We should let that happen. That's okay.
I'm gonna tell you a secret.
What's that?
I'm gonna tell you a secret. If you go into a black neighborhood or whatever, and businesses are getting burned down, they know who their allies are. Their businesses ain't getting burned down. Okay? You gotta go watch shit. Do the Right Thing. You gotta watch that movie and there's a scene in that movie that illustrates that perfectly.
But we're not in that movie. We're in real life.
No. It's a representation of the truth of the culture.
That's not what's happening now.
Okay, you're gonna tell me.
If you have a guy who's a business owner, like whether he is Asian, white, whatever the case may be, and he's a business owner and he owns a business in a all Latino or all black community where his demographic is different from that community, I'm not going to sit there and say that the person, he may not hate black people, he may not hate Latinos, he might hug them and think they're great people individually, when he talks to these particular people. But if he takes all of that money from that community and does nothing with it to put it back in and reinvest into that community, that is part of the systemic problem.
Why do you
now, does killing that person make it right? No, it doesn't. It harms the cause, in fact. Okay. However, it is a fact. It does remain that two things can be true at once.
People can actively try to help a situation and it not still be resolved. We don't know what these people do.
Hold on. I've been waiting. Hold on. Here we go. I got the perfect.
And that's the end of the show, guys. Sorry, Mikey.
I got a perfect allegory for this. Taylor, me and you are neighbors.
Okay.
Right? Me and you are neighbors. I fucking go over to your house, go into your garage, we play beer pong. You come over to my place, in my driveway, you play bags. We have a personal rapport. So if there's a zombie plague coming across the land, me and you both know, we give each other that wink and a nod. I protect you, you protect me. Here's what's happened in modern America. A certain population is being swarmed by fucking zombies. And then when that population cries out for help, the windows get shuttered. And then like those people are fucking feeling forgotten about. So let's say I survive the fucking zombie apocalypse after you left me to fucking die. Bitch, I'm burning down your fucking weave selling fucking place down in my city. I'm going to burn it down. I have no our.
So you don't think that
I don't give a fuck about the legal system at this point. No. Because the legal system has clearly failed me and the person that I'm writing for in the first place. But if me and you had
you don't think it's failed everybody. You think it's only failed black people.
Well, when the unemployment rate for blacks in America is consistently double the regular unemployment rate, I think that maybe some people are being affected a little bit more than others consistently throughout history.
But that's a bad question. Here's a better question. Taylor, do you think that certain sections of the population are unjustly put under an additional set of hurdles than other people?
I think that there are some hurdles that, yes. I think that the black community has a harder time with a lot of things. I think that there are also hurdles on the other side, and I bet you
are those hurdles directly related to the melanin content of your skin and that alone?
Yes.
Oh,
so you're talking about affirmative.
I'm talking about the fact that
please don't say affirmative action.
I'm talking about the fact that it is much safer for a cop to arrest white people than it is black people. It's more defensive.
Why is that?
Because I can't play the race card.
But why? Hold on.
So then why do white?
Hold on.
Whoa. We got a couple things.
Go back to the why. Back to the why.
Yeah, take it back. Take it back.
Because the why is important. What you just said here, brother. Okay.
Say it again. It
may very well be safer for a cop to arrest a white person right now than a black person in a lot of ways, socially speaking, and news media speaking, and criticism speaking, because of the fact that for 100 years it was the polar opposite of that, and now people have cell phones. Right? You used to get black people arrested for whistling at people.
But those injustices, they're wrong. Yeah, there's no defending that.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that out loud, so that we can hear you say that.
Right.
Emmett Till was unjustly killed. Like, say that shit loud and in front.
There's a lot of people that have been unjustly killed, and there's a lot of Caucasian people that, like here recently, I just read a story. Dude said, "Hey, put your hand in." No, hits a cop. He ain't dead. He got arrested. Dylan Roof. He got taken to Burger King. Terrence
Kyle
Franklin
Rittenhouse.
in the middle of the street like this. He gets shot dead.
Yeah,
Fucking
Kyle
Amber Geiger went to the
Rittenhouse.
wrong apartment and shot a dude. You know,
and there's tons of examples of jobs happening. White guys. I got the videos of this shit of a cop walking in and putting his gun on a white guy, and a white guy saying, you know, I'm here, and he makes him get on the ground and crawl on this dude.
The Vegas dude. That Vegas dude. I was fucking livid. I was shaking livid having watched that.
The statistics show that it's disproportionate to the tune of 2.5 times more likely for that to happen to a minority.
With the white people being 3 or 4 or 5 to 1 to black people, I'm surprised white people didn't turn Vegas.
Rate.
I'm surprised white people didn't turn Vegas all the way the fuck up until.
But here's the thing: they know that the chance of happening to them is less.
Haas, we're cross talking. I gotta pause you, bro.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm surprised white people didn't turn Vegas the fuck up when that bullshit coward of a fucking police officer murdered that boy who was trying to crawl across the. You're talking about
terrible.
In the hotel,
yeah, in the
right?
hotel, in the hotel,
and his fucking basketball shorts fell down, and that dude fucking wasted him when he had his fucking hands up, but it slipped because he was in fucking basketball, and that dude wasted him for no fucker. I thought white people were. I was like, oh, they about to be on the same shit that I've been on. And it didn't fucking happen, and that was crazy.
Why is it framed as? I don't think it needs to be framed as a race issue,
but it is, and that's when you take that out of it. Then
that's why we're confused.
Yeah.
All right. Again, can I please? Okay. Let me talk to the white guy as a white guy. All right.
Because fluent white.
Look. This
I speak jive.
This is something that it's not natural, Taylor, for you to, or for me to wrap your head around, because when we all grew up in school, we all grew up and our parents all taught us that we were all equal. And it probably came down to the point where we figured that every person is, responsible for his or her own individual success, because everybody has the exact same opportunity. Now, first of all, that is not a true statement when you look at the facts. But the point is this: when you, as a white person, when a police officer pulls you over, there is a significantly less probability that police officer is going to perceive you or I, based on our skin color, as something that potentially could be threatening than they would to Haas. Mikey's skinny. He weighs 6 pounds. They're not going to see him as a threat either.
I will fuck you up in a fight. Don't ever get shit.
It's not just race, right? It could be the way that someone's dressed. It could be there's a lot of different reasons why people perceive people as a threat. But and I know that if when white people go into black neighborhoods, which they don't do very often, they take that extra precaution to guard their purse, make sure they know where their wallet's in their front pocket, et cetera, et cetera. And that doesn't mean they hate black people. It's the distrust of the community aggregate.
Conditioning.
You can be married to a black woman and distrust the black community.
I would argue that it's a poverty factor, because black communities are economically disadvantaged.
But blacks have now been there is an association there now between blacks and poverty, because of the fact that blacks have been in poverty in this nation for the last, you tell me how many years.
Forever.
And when someone comes out of it,
and it's been a government backed thing.
And the problem is when too many times when black people get out of it, they then turn their back on their own, on the rest of the community too frequently. What I'm saying is that a lot of black professionals, I'm not even talking about celebrities, because celebrities are celebrities and they'll generally, but you look at your Herman Cains of the world, right?
Herman Cain is not an indication of the aggregate of black people who.
No. What I'm saying is that we talked about this before. When a Latino or a black person become successful, they become a doctor, they become a lawyer, they become a business professional, they become a marketing manager, and they're making $100,000-$200,000 a year, they then say, I made it. They then look at, oftentimes will look back at their own community and say, I disagree. I made it. How come you didn't make it?
I disagree, because there's a whole cadre of organizations. No, there's a whole cadre of black fraternities and sororities of people who dedicate their lives, like I have, to going and reaching back and to getting back into the community. Then you have the Masons, and then you have 100 Black Men, and then you have all of these other minority organizations dedicated, of successful people, dedicated. And I by no means call myself a quote unquote success. There are people a lot more successful than me in these organizations.
You're a fucking success, Big Haas. If you ever talk shit about my fucking co-host and good buddy again, I will fight you.
But there's hundreds of thousands of quote unquote successful marketing managers, doctors, lawyers, architects, engineers, and such that are in groups like Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, that are Prince Hall Masons, that are members of 100 Black Men, that absolutely 100% are dedicated to giving back, to mentoring, to job training, to community reinvestment programs, all types of things.
And one of them is running for Senate in Georgia right now. But I'm not.
Yeah. Shout out to Brother Warnock.
Yeah, but again, I have to say this all the time. Two things can be true at once. The ones that you see on the media, your Candace Owenses of the world, your Hodgsons of the world,
they're not indicative of the aggregate. Is what I'm saying. But
they're the ones who people. They're the ones who people see because they're the ones that are on the news.
And who puts them on the news? And that brings us to our next amazing, beautiful segue.
The humidor.
It's time.
But did we are we segueing?
Yeah, we're gonna do our cigar portion now. So
we're not gonna do the cigar portion. We're gonna be the cigar and liquor portion. Big High.
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to the Humidor with Big Haas. Find out what Haas is puffin' and drinkin' today. If you try his suggestion, and you die. That is natural selection, and the VFU podcast is not responsible for you being weak effing sauce. Now, the one, the only, Big Haas.
I'm not on drugs.
Yes. Get out of here, LL. You ain't cool. Get the fuck out of here.
All right. First of all, we have to give a quick shout out and see if y'all get the reference.
What am I looking at? Low Pan's High Cuisine.
Serving big flavor in Little China. Very nice.
Is that from the movie?
That's right, buddy.
You know,
I got to give you a shirt, dude. You know, I got to give you a shirt.
Shouts out to Kurt Russell.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, that movie scared the shit out of me because I was way too young to have watched it when it came out. But I did. That terrified me. That was horror.
Are you serious?
That little eyeball thing, that was fucking that
was crazy.
That was terrifying. I was a child. I was a baby person. I should not.
I was a little older. I was a little older when I
the inspiration for the Raiden character on Mortal Kombat.
Yes, 100%.
No, are you serious? Is that real?
Yes.
Is that a real thing, or did you do that just for the job?
No, that's for real, dude. That is
Raiden
for real.
was based off of the Big Trouble Little China character.
Yeah, there's a guy with the big hat on who shot electricity.
That's not the first time that hat's been out, though. That's an old hat.
That's an old hat, but we're talking about the character in Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah, but the character in the movie.
Oh no, man! That movie was like 84, and that game was like 94.
Exactly.
Right.
They didn't have a 10-year anniversary edition of the fucking hat, bro. Like, come on, man.
Dude, I'm telling you. As soon as I saw Raiden in Mortal Kombat, I was like, "Oh, that's my man from Big Trouble in Little China."
I'm
playing with him.
One of the screenwriters was influenced by that movie.
I'm on
when he was younger. So But anyway,
back to the humidor. I had to give you the shirt love. I'm smoking a cigar. You know what? I never even heard of this cigar before, but I moonlight and I do social media marketing and promotions for a local cigar lounge named the Torch Cigar and Hookah Lounge in Lockport, where I used to live. And
by the way, the owner of that place is a great guy, police officer. I really like him. Really good guy.
Really cool dude. Shout out to KJ and Mo over at the Torch. I was in the Torch, and I was doing a little bit of administrative work in the humidor, working on, just trying to make sure everything looked nice and everything, because I was going to take some pictures. And I came across this cigar. It just intrigued me. So
what is it?
It is called AOK, and it's an acronym. It's an acronym that stands for All Out Kings, and it's actually a collaboration between Caldwell Cigar Company, all right, and Drew Estate. Now, if you're familiar with Drew Estate, you know that's a powerhouse brand in the marketplace. So back in 2016, they debuted this All Out Kings cigar, and it's
dude,
kind of a mild to medium, and that's not normally my thing, but I wanted to try it, and I figured, it'd be a good one to review because it's truly something I'm smoking naked. Pause. Now, what they do is they name the vitolas with certain names. So this was a 5 3/4 by 46 vitola, and instead of calling it a Toro, which kind of thing I think might be the closest traditional vitola name, they called it "Give Me Your Lunch Money." All right, and this thing.
Oh, you smoking a Debo?
No, Debo would be a Gordo. Debo would be a Gordo. It'd be a big thick one. Pause.
Baby D? Is that a Baby D?
This would be more of a. This would be a Craig. No, not Craig, but Smokey. This would be Smokey.
Ay, caramba!
Tall and thin. Pause.
Ezel?
No, it wouldn't. No, Ezel would be a Robusto. But anyway, so the tobaccos come from the Drew Estate Farms in Esteli, Nicaragua.
Oh,
okay. And you've got a Connecticut stalk cut and sun cured Habano wrapper.
Where's Habano? What's up?
Habano wrapper. Habano is usually a milder wrapper. So it's a milder profile, but it's a Connecticut stalk cut, sun cured Habano wrapper. So it's definitely got that mild to medium kind of flavor to it. Okay,
a milder wrapper, like nice and smooth.
Mm-hmm. It's more. It's not as
like Nelly.
Yeah, like Nelly. I meant nice and smooth as a group.
It would be like EI from Nelly. You know what I'm saying?
Like Lou Bega.
Yeah, the binder is.
Oh my fuck! Stop it, Dutch. You're triggering me on purpose, and I'm sick of it. Stop it.
I got him, man.
So the binder is in Indonesian Sumatra.
Ooh.
Okay, so Sumatra tends to be a little bit sweeter, to me anyway. And the filler has, let me see, 1, 2. I'm reading the description here because normally filler is like
you were going off the top of your head, man.
No, well, the filler is a 3-blend long broadleaf filler. So we got
there's a couple of them in there. Okay,
there's actually 3, and there's a Jalapa Viso, an Esteli Viso, a Dominican C98 Seco, which I'm not sure what that is. I have to do the research. I'm sorry. And then there's 4. There's actually a Connecticut broadleaf Ligero. Now, Ligeros tend to be a little bit more toothy. So that might be where I'm getting a little bit more of the nuance from, is in the filler. because I do
What was that?
get a little hint of cocoa, get a little hint of a wood of some sort. I want to say cedar or oak, but I'm not quite sure. I'm still working on that. Pause.
Working on that wood.
Yeah, he's working on the wood.
Gotta see what it tastes like.
But
what was
tastes
it?
pretty good.
What was the thing that you said before?
What?
Chico? What was it called?
Dominican C98 Seco.
Seco.
Yeah, SCCO.
SC.
It's a type of leaf that I've never heard of before. That's why it stood out to me. You know, I've heard of Esteli Viso, I've heard of Connecticut broadleaf Ligero, and I've heard of Jalapa Viso, but I've never heard of a Dominican C98 Seco. And I can only assume that C98 is the section of the farm where they pulled these leaves from, and Seco might actually stand for section.
Is that SCCO?
No, SCSECO.
God damn it! I found something, but that is not what you're talking about.
Better get off
He
that
found
monkey.
Yeah, he's on
porn.com.
RedTube. Get off RedTube.
It was like a mining company. I wasn't talking about those holes. I was talking about holes in the ground.
So this cigar has a little bit of spice to it. It has some cocoa or coffee essence to it as well, and but it's really mild. So you know you really have to, and I'm challenging myself with the milder cigars because I'm challenging my palate to really dig deep, pause, and get these nuances from it. Now I haven't. I paired it today.
What you? Hey, you did a whoo before we started. About
Yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good.
What you pairing?
Because I took a risk.
Cigar.
I took a risk. So
roll the dice, man.
Yeah, I have the Leblon Cachaça rum, and this is actually the standard Leblon Cachaça. And if you remember, I said that before because sometime back I used the Leblon Cachaça rum, but it is the Reserva Especial.
Yo, that color is from the bear.
I'm just student number 3 here. I'm best cousins with student number 1. That darker color in the rum is not due to any distillation. It's just the barrels. Some people use aluminum, some people use copper, some people use wood.
This was a wooden barrel, most likely.
That would explain the color.
Yeah,
it gives it
probably
a flavor
a charred barrel to give it a little bit different flavor.
And I drink a lot compared to my cousin.
Now
I drink and I know things.
I didn't drink that straight though. I took another risk and paired it with Sprecher Red Apple Soda.
Oh, you ballsy.
I went out. I went out there. I went out.
Risk.
Real man of genius.
Look
Here's
at you,
for you,
Mr.
Mr. Mixed Drink Experimenter.
He's got the red apple.
Mixologist creator.
And I didn't put no ice in it. But it's definitely sweet. The rum is sweet, of course. This red apple is sweet, but it brings out some sweetness in the cigar, which
Will
makes
you
me
mix that drink again?
What now? Would I mix that drink again?
Drink again,
Yes,
yeah.
I would. You know what I would do though? I would have one of my spherical ice balls in here though, pause. To make
You're gonna
to keep
love
it
my
cold,
nuts.
because right now it's almost room temperature.
That's really something hot, Dutch, that tickles my balls.
This is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls.
Now, as you can see, it produces a lot of smoke. And also, as you can see, I did a V cut on this.
Ooh,
and I probably shouldn't have.
Binding is coming apart.
Because you see here, when I did the V cut, it was so deep, pause, that the cap actually came off. And I've been preserving this thing with my tongue, pause, for most of this podcast.
Sometimes you got to preserve it with the tongue.
Sometimes you got to give a little tongue action in there to make sure everything stays in the right spot. Pause. But also,
I'm totally off script right now.
The construction is pretty good, except for me fucking it up. I should have probably done a straight cut or a punch, but I did have a little bit of lighting issues with this. I had to touch it a few times for even just sitting it down. Pause. Even just sitting it down for a couple minutes, it would go out. So I don't necessarily like that.
Teacher, this is student number 1. I apologize for my twin cousin who jumped in here and interrupted previously.
Okay.
They got the same daddy, different mamas.
That's right. No. That would be half brothers.
No. It depends. They're same
twin
mama,
cousins.
different daddy.
They're twin
same
cousins.
mama, different daddy. Might be the same mama, probably the same daddy.
No, what happened is,
and
Mama had 2 brothers. They're from West Virginia.
There was a
Mama
party
had
one
2
night.
brothers, and there was a party.
Yeah.
And two different eggs got fertilized by 2 different people in the same family.
If neither one of you are Mari, if
nasty.
neither one of you are Mari Povich, could both of you just stop interrupting me? If you can't tell me the paternity test, then you don't know.
Well, let's go cousin number 2.
I'm first cousin number 1. I'm the original student of your cigar reviews. You've mentioned the V cut and how it adds a certain a draw,
yes,
like an increase to the draw of the cigarette. But you also mentioned several others, and that would be the punch,
yes,
and the straight cut. And we have not covered those in the classes.
Okay,
that I've been able to watch on Zoom because schools are shut down because COVID.
Right. All right, you know what?
It's a hoax.
So
it's a hoax cut.
The punch and the straight cut most often used when smoking cigars is the straight cut, and that's where, like, if you would imagine here that there was a round part here at the top. A straight cut is basically a scalp across the top of the dome.
It just slices at the diameter and goes.
Now, if you look right here, you can see the bottom of the cap. You see that line?
I do see that, yes.
Okay, so what I did when I did my V cut was I cut it, and part of that cap came off. So when part of the cap comes off, cigar tends to unravel. So I probably should have done a straight cut.
Have you considered peeling his muffin cap back blue?
No, because I ain't got no pillowcases. But with cigars that are thinner vitolas, you don't necessarily want to do. And I use the deep V pause so much that it's kind of almost habit. And if I had been thinking, I would have said, self, this vitola doesn't have the ring gauge for a deep V. Okay. I would have used a straight cut or a punch. Now, a punch would be like it would be the circle would be a lot smaller than this, but imagine, if you will, a small circle punched into the top if the dome was here in the middle of the cigar. Now, each cut has a different effect on the cigar. A V cut is kind of like the hybrid between a straight cut and a punch. All right. So it's like you increase the draw, but not as much as a straight cut. A straight cut across, you get the most draw. Now, if you do a punch, it's a lot less draw. Okay. And sometimes a punch is not conducive because when you're pulling that smoke, that when you're taking the draw, it'll superheat the tobacco and you get a little bit of bitterness on it. So I usually only use a punch cut for my box press cigars, like my flathead, which is a big ring gauge cigar. I do what's called a snake eyes cut, a snake eyes punch, where I actually have enough space there to make 2 circular punches in the cap, and I smoke it that way. So in the future, if I were to get this cigar again or similar cigars of this ring gauge, especially, I wouldn't use a deep V. I would probably use a punch or a straight cut. Okay. Now, as I was saying, the drink that I made brings out some more sweetness of the cigar. Like I said, the cigar is very mild. You have to really kind of let the smoke roll around in your mouth, pause, and retrohale a little bit to really pick up on the nuances. And for me, I would probably smoke this cigar again with water to really have my palate as clean as possible and pick up on the nuances without any intrusion of other flavors.
Now,
But
you said that with water. What did you
yes,
pair that cigar with tonight?
tonight I told you it's the LeBlanc and the Sprecher apple cider, red apple
Short
cider.
attention span over there.
Soda.
Sorry, short attention span.
So on the leaf
I was
meter,
trying to get him to circle it back. God damn you, Dutch.
on the leaf meter, like as you can tell, I'm almost done with this cigar, and it's starting to. I could get more earth out of it, but also I've had to relight it a few times, so it's a little bit charred. So I'm getting a little bitterness. Pause. But on the leaf meter, I would give this.
What they saying right now? What them taste buds saying to you?
Maybe I would give this like a 3.8, 3.9. Because, well, I don't like mild cigars that much.
Disappointment.
Not much flavor on it. It does create a good smoke. I did have to relight it a few times.
Oof.
The wrapper is peeling, but that was my fault, so I'm not going to take anything off for that.
But he didn't forget it either.
I didn't.
That was 0.3 right there.
That was like a point. That's a 0.07 off. But I would probably smoke it again out of pure curiosity. If you know what I mean. I want to smoke it with water to really have
a puro taste,
a really true naked feel for what this cigar is. But it's not bad. It's not a Trump 2020.
Oh,
it's better than a Trump 2020.
You see our guest is in here. You ain't got to shoot shots at him.
Hey, you know what? Hey, I still got that. Trump 2020. And on Inauguration Day, when Biden is inaugurated, I'm gonna light that bitch on fire on live.
So
just burn it down. I'm not even gonna smoke. I'm just gonna burn it down.
So Taylor, if I got you one, would you smoke one in solidarity with Big Haas?
I would.
Well, a Trump 2020?
Yeah,
I'm not smoking that.
I'll smoke on Inauguration Day either way.
That's right. You smoke?
I smoke Cools. These are Cools from.
Your middle name is Dante.
Cools from.
Yo, that was the deepest hood cut ever.
He said, "I smoke Cools." Like if he was smoking a Newport, it would be Deontay. His middle name is Dante.
Can I tell a small fucking cool story?
Yes.
This is crazy. Like, so when I lived in St. Louis, I had just left living in Long Island for like 4 months. But
New Jersey?
Long Island, bro.
Long Island, New Jersey?
That's New York, bro. Come on, man.
I mean, New York, whatever.
Yeah. Come on now.
Hey, I've drank like 3 cups of this damn LeBlanc.
You know what? I attacked you, and I should have just educated. That's on me. I should have educated as opposed to attack.
It's okay. I still love you.
I love you too, bro. So I lived out there, and then I moved back to St. Louis, and I didn't really know anybody because I hadn't lived in St. Louis since I was like a kid. I was like little. I didn't go to high school in fucking St. Louis, so like all of like the real friends that you kind of carry into early adulthood, I didn't have any of that. Mm-hmm. So I came back down, and I started working with this dude. We're both taking a bus, and we had some sort of a beef, and he's like, "You're not even from here. You don't even know shit." I'm like, "Yo, I used to."
Oh
live
yeah.
I was like, "Yo, I'm from fucking 20th and Cass. Like that. I went to Blewett. Like I know all this." I was like, I lived down this. Like I didn't live in Peabody, but I lived right next to the fucking Peabody projects, bro. Mm-hmm. Like all of them was my people's. Like I lived in a place.
You were project adjacent.
I was literally project adjacent. There was like a school courtyard in between us. It's like, yo, I know these kids, and I grew up with them, or slightly grew up with them, and I know them. Mm-hmm. And the motherfucker, the name drop that I used that I never thought would get me out of a fight. homeboy's name, even back in 6th, 7th grade, was Kenny Cool.
Oh, geez.
Because he had
I went to school with Kenny Cool.
As soon as I said that shit, the whole shit fit. It was like, oh, you is from there. Oh, come. Yo.
Right. It's all good now.
You heard about Mario and Marlo, right? And I was like, oh, shit. And then we went into the whole, like, deep dive on catch me up on what happened to everybody that was from the project.
Right.
But Kenny Cool. So every time someone buys a pack of Cool cigarettes from my establishment, I'm just like, that one was for Kenny Cool. I'm sure
you killed Kenny, you bastard.
No, we didn't even. No, this is pre South Park. This was pre cable.
This was clack.
You were alive pre-cable?
How old are you? No,
I'm
you
33.
know it wasn't pre-cable.
I'm 33.
You're just confused.
I grew up when I was
We
young.
had cable in 85.
TV went off when I was little.
I
would play the fucking anthem and it would be static.
I used to some of my favorite, like, I don't know if they're my favorite, but some of my most vivid memories of when I was a little kid were, I loved Saturday morning cartoons, right? So you get up in the morning, you turn, if you were a little bit early, you'd turn on the TV and you'd have the red, the blue, and the white, and what was the other one? Yellow, probably all the primary colors there with the white and the black. And you just sit there and it'd be going, you just wait. All of a sudden it would switch off. So these kids ain't got all that right now. They just turn on whatever and it's there.
I said pre-cable because that's pre when most poor people had cable. I know you entitled motherfuckers up there was paying for cable for yourself, watching HBO all willy-nilly, you crazy daft bastards, but not all the rest of us.
I remember Spectrum and On TV.
On.
Yes.
Well, we had Jones Space Link in Illinois.
They would always play Emmanuel late at night, and I'd be trying to look between the lines.
Hey, so because we gotta wrap it up, but we generally made a mistake though, and we got away from this because when we're supposed to we generally were going to start to do when we had a guest on the show that we didn't know, we were play a game called 4 Down Territory. So real quick, we didn't do that. Real quick, we'll end the game. We'll end the show with this, and then we'll give Taylor a chance to promote his stuff. And again, we'd love to have you back, Taylor. I think that there's a lot of things that we could still hash out and talk about in a mindful way. And we appreciate that your candor while you're here. So 4 Down Territory, we're going to ask you 4 questions. They're not related to anything political or anything like that. But they're just about you. So answer those 4. We'll do it we'll do it backwards, and we'll try to keep it real quick and here and brief because we got to roll. So shotgun, sit, hut, 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 hut. All right. Oh God! First question for Taylor.
Yikes!
With that in mind, with the old days and everything in mind, when your family first went from TV to cable, assuming that you were alive when that transition happened, what was the first cable channel that you got addicted to?
I don't remember the transition. I think we always had just basic cable my whole childhood, but I don't recall. But my first addiction was Ninja Turtles for fucking sure.
That was on ABC.
And it was on at 7:30 and it was on at 3. And then they quit the afternoon 3 o'clock program and it ruined my fucking life for a minute.
Was that the Ninja Turtles that had they're the world's most fearsome fight? That was a theme song? Okay.
Yeah. He's a radical rat.
That iteration. Okay. He's a radical rat. They're heroes. All right, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
After that, you got the Nickelodeon sort of afternoon burst, later.
How old are you?
33.
Okay, so you guys are both.
For only a few more days because I'm a Sagittarius.
All right, Mikey.
Wait. What's Sagittarius? What month?
This month.
He said 3 more days, dude. What are you smoking?
No, I thought he was like reflecting off of me because we're both 33, and I said Leo, and I'm like, 3 more days, like in front or behind. I don't know.
My birthday is the 11th.
Okay.
Well, happy fucking birthday.
We're not going to see you in 3 days, so fucking happy birthday, piece of shit, motherfucker. Goddamn.
But I'm looking forward to the cigars Haas are going to send me.
Oh,
God. No, I'll have to do that as producer.
Wow.
This is some bullshit. Now I got to buy more fucking cigars that I don't smoke. and send them to other motherfuckers. This
Oh, I
is
got a couple I send them.
All right, Big
I'll
Haas
set it up.
or Mikey, who's got the next question?
Big House.
I got the next question.
Yep.
Okay.
One of you.
What? Because I heard you talking about tools earlier when we were setting up for the show. What is your favorite tool that's not on your body that that you like to use?
Sean Hannity. I'm sorry, that was rude. I shouldn't have said that.
Sean Hannity. My favorite tool.
Yeah, you said something about a bandsaw earlier, but I want to know what.
Yeah, no.
What's your like? I love working with this thing.
It's a table vise because I'm a felon, so I don't anymore. But I like building AR-15s. And
allegedly,
right? Anytime I would
sprinkle that shit, Dutch. Right. Give me some sprinkles, Dutch.
It's got good memories because I know I'm about to tighten a barrel on.
Okay, that's cool. You have to give me a
exciting one, but it's my.
You got to give me a tutorial when I build mine.
Man, let's do it. I love the shit.
All right, Mikey, what's up?
Because I know Taylor better than you other two chuckle fucks.
No, the manhole does that.
Taylor,
you still got some glitter under your fingernails.
Don't ever expose me on air like that ever again. Like, god damn, you telling all my secrets and knowledges for everybody. This is mixed company. Top 3 worst religions.
Oh.
He's got a top 3. Don't act like he don't. If he says he don't, he lying.
I mean, I would go.
In no particular order.
Yeah, I don't. I think Satanism and Islam, I'd say are the two that.
All right, who's running out third then?
A third, Catholicism specifically. Can I pick out the Catholic Church?
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, sure, okay. That's fine.
Let me pick out the Catholic Church and maybe put that one at the top.
Are you talking about the Anton Viday sect of Satanism? Or are you talking about, because I find most Satanists just to be like anti-religion.
I don't know which sect does what, but I know that there are some that are fucked up, and there are some that are not. And so the ones that like where satanic ritual abuse comes into play, if you're abusing kids, you're on the shit list.
Well, the Clinton Foundation. No, I'm just kidding.
Here we go.
I know, I just couldn't resist. But all right. So last question for you. All right. So we have a zombie apocalypse starting tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
You can pick any 3 characters from anything that you want. It could be TV, comic books, whatever, to be the 3 people that you will be going through survival with. Who are they?
Okay. Man, that's a broad question.
Just pick the most necessary one first, and then you can kind of like work your answer out like a pommel horse.
Yeah, like you see how you do this. You start with Sofia Vergara or something like that.
I was gonna start with
I start with Dark Phoenix.
I was gonna start with Kaylee McEnany.
You a troll.
I think Kaylee McEnany is very beautiful. I've said that before, but she's also out of her fucking mind.
Gets to be annoying to you. So
I've heard CNN's going to pay her a shit ton of money, just so you know.
I don't know. I'll still watch her. I actually watch CNN sometimes.
You got to watch her on mute.
But yeah, no, I'll never stop watching Kaylee McEnany.
Like Telemundo.
So she's my partner for sure. Yeah, I'm probably bringing all bitches and then like Wolverine.
So misogynistic. He's like 3 bitches and Wolverine, and we would do the
exact.
I mean, okay, like let me get Wolverine in there because he's invincible and
right. Okay, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So Kaylee McEnany, Wolverine.
2 other bitches.
No, he only gets 3, so you can't bring 3 bitches and Wolverine. You can bring 2 bitches and Wolverine.
Oh, you said 4.
No, I said 3 people.
Yeah,
He's the fourth.
three.
Okay, so you got.
So anyone else from movies, celebrity, pop culture, comic books, anything?
My man skipped over Mystique for fucking Kaylee McEnany. Like, I'm wilding in my head right now. Like, what are you?
Well, you know what it is.
saying?
You know what it is. He wants to bring Angela Bassett.
Mm.
That's a direct dig.
What I want to bring, I want to say I want to bring Eva Longoria, but I don't know if she's gotten too old at this point.
Eva Longoria.
Hey man, the older the berry, the sweeter the juice.
I haven't.
Hey man, it's black of the berry.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
She's black
as hell too.
But we're gonna go with Eva Longoria from when Desperate Housewives first started.
So you got to go. So you can do that because
okay, I'm gonna
time machine.
So you're selecting her character from the Desperate Housewives show.
Yes,
in that circa. Okay, perfect. Well, there we go. Okay, tell the people where they can. Well, Mikey, you handle this part because you're better at this.
Well, can we all hosts give one answer? It's not your top answer, but just a answer.
Yes.
To the same question. Let's go Dutch. What you got?
I've been thinking of that as we was talking. I think I would go into Heroes lore, the TV show Heroes, and I would take Peter Petrelli because he can lose his superpower to someone who he touches. So I would touch Peter Petrelli, take his superpower, and be the fuck out.
Where would you touch him? Never mind. All right, big.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about all that. Don't worry about all that.
You about to lose your job. All right, Big Haas. Which one superhero are you taking with you into the zombie apocalypse?
It doesn't have to be a super. It could be Angela Bassett.
No, I'm not about to. No, because I would not be paying attention to the zombies because I would be doing other things.
You're assuming she would be interested.
Dude, she gonna
not if everybody else is zombies. Shit.
I'd rather fuck with the zombies. I'm out.
It's gonna be. I'm not that ugly, but
cocaine is a hell of a drug.
This might be a shocker, but you know who I would take? I would I would take Homelander because he'd just be lasering motherfuckers and making a path.
Yeah.
That's who I take. I take Homelander.
See, now, I'll tell you where you fucked up.
Because he probably fly off without me.
I'm gonna tell you where you fucked up. You should have took Regina King from Watchmen because she could do the same shit, and it's Regina King.
Yeah.
Remember, she got Dr. Manhattan's powers. So anyway, Michelangelo of the Ninja Turtle fame.
You just fucking said my fucking answer, Dutch. That's what I be saying, bro. You always.
I didn't know you were gonna say that.
It's racial, man. It's racial.
Hey, you can still pick Rush Limbaugh. You can still take Rush
The
Limbaugh.
only reason I would pick Rush Limbaugh is for his support of blacks, and I'm talking about the two blacks he supports, which are his fucking left and right lung. Die in a fire, you burnt ass motherfucker.
All right. Tell us how you really feel.
How do you really feel?
I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad, son. I'm gonna tell you why I'm mad.
So your answer is Michelangelo from the Ninja Turtles?
Like, I really wanted to pick Regina King from Watchmen because I originally wanted to take Dr. Manhattan because that's the obvious cheat answer and I would win. But then I was like, oh, Regina King would be better. And then here you go interrupting Haas before I could even say it. You literally just
minds think alike.
But you didn't say it, Dutch. But you can still take her though.
I'm gonna give a totally different answer, and if I'm trying to survive the zombie apocalypse, my winner is Drew Barrymore from Donnie Darko. I have my fetishes, and you guys have yours. I don't need anyone judging me right now.
Yeah, now I have to watch Donnie Darko again to figure out.
Oh yes.
Have you guys seen John Wick 2 and 3?
Yes.
No.
No.
I just watched the first one for the first time.
Me too. I saw it like 3 weeks ago.
Wow,
it was really good. I watched
the second one and the third one are good too. It's almost like they're so good. It's like 1A, 1B, 1C. The first one is still the best to me.
Okay. I need you to stop talking, Haas, because you're pulling a Dutch right now.
I'm not gonna say anything else.
No, you've already done it. So
that's all I'm gonna say.
I promise I won't say anything else. Keep going.
Can you stop flashing that to me? Can you stop flashing that at me, bro? Can you stop?
That's all I'm gonna say. I just.
He's doing the A-OK to me like repeatedly with both fingers, and I don't appreciate that.
Hey, it's the fourth time that counts.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Boom, there it is. So here's what. So I had never seen John Wick, right?
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm a little high.
Okay, Mr. Chappelle.
Oh, do we even talk? Do we even
try to
talk
get some
about
information? I gotta go. I gotta go.
I do.
So,
I do too. Because
tell your story.
I was watching I bought it on Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it goes through I have a smart TV, so it goes through like the Wi-Fi and it streams the movie to you without you actually buying the disc. So I'm thinking everything's fine and dandy, and it's
It was in Spanish.
And then it stopped, and then there was like rain, and then there was like a car crash, and I'm hearing this like narration. I'm like, oh, they getting artsy fartsy with this bitch. I like this. Like, this is gonna be a good movie. Well, this went on for about 6.5, 8 minutes.
Oh shit!
The link was fucked up, and that's why the fucking video wasn't showing. There's visuals for all the shit that I just listened to 3 times because I thought they were being artsy, and it just didn't kick in minute 4 or 5. I listened to I listened to John Wick, the beginning of John Wick, fucking 3.5, 4 times because I didn't know that it wasn't.
You got to create your own,
just a little bit, high, right?
Yeah, you get to create your own visuals.
At least you didn't get like the XXX parody or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Because I have
Homelander does Dallas.
Oh, gross! Just spraying it all over Dallas with laser cum.
All right, I'm out.
I have hearing damage, so I always play shows with closed captioning because I don't want movies to be overly loud for my partner, for my fiance. As out of respect for her, I just put that on the bottom. All the fucking subtitles showed up, but there was a blank black screen. I thought they were being artistic. And it was just a bad link, and I just had to fucking turn my TV off and turn it back on. And then, oh, what do you know? They have all these fucking beginning credits. No idea.
There you go.
But I'm gonna watch 2 and 3 in the next week.
There you go.
There you go. All right, Taylor, where can we find your shit?
You can
in the
find
toilet.
Me. I will. I'll just drop a link in if that's cool.
Put it in the private chat, and I'll pop it in the thing.
Yeah, it's channel's called Flow State. The YouTube URL is Flow State.
All right.
All right, that's FLOWSTATE. Perfect. I'll find you on Twitter. Listener, if you're listening to the show, thanks again for listening. I probably should have said this earlier, but if you're listening on YouTube, or definitely subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Facebook or Periscope, find us on YouTube at youtube.com/voice from the underground podcast. The whole thing, you got to type that in. Yeah, I know it's long, but whatever.
Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, like a Tribe Called Quest, except
say the whole thing every time
without the popularity. And on twitch.tv/voice, or I'm sorry, twitch.tv/VFU podcast. Thanks for listening. We will see all of you guys next week, and thank you to Taylor for joining the show. All right, guys.
Peace.
Peace.
That was great. Hey, thanks, Taylor. Appreciate
Thank you
man.
for having me on.
All right.